Hurrdat Sports presents the Damon Benning Show with Ravi Lulla.
To you. And he's going to try to instill that confidence back in his quarterback, who in large part was the reason they were in that position anyway.
Amir Johnson with running room, hits the sideline with a burst, gets in midfield, inside Minnesota territory, down inside the 35.
34-yard line. Toss sweep. Anthony Grant looking to throw the ball back to Sims. And it's a lateral. It comes off of Sims' legs. He picks it up, throws it downfield, wide open at the goal line. It's a touchdown. Alex Bullock wide open in the end zone. So the Huskers with a double pass. Sims to Bullock. Nebraska has the lead.
Right now, I know you've been looking forward to seeing Nathan Kaliakmanis. What is your early impression of your QB?
He looks poised. He's doing a good job in the pocket. Did a good job on the scramble there to pick up the first down. And, throw it to the open guys. Take what the defense gives us.
Play fake. Kaliakmanis delivers. Sideline! Intercepted! Wow! Omar Brown read it, reacted, and gobbled the football up.
Yeah, I don't even, it's kind of like I said at the beginning, we're on the front end of something that we're building.
Welcome in. It is the DB Show with my main man, Ravi Lulla. We are here to get it in. A fantastic Friday, only because it's Friday, right? we got to get it going. We're not going to be in our fields as a listening audience, as a show. Anybody else out there? There's this kind of this run-of-the-mill stuff that was going on last night, whether even I got some former players, get under my skin. Some fans get under my skin. Some of my friends get under my skin. But that's okay, right? Because everybody has got differing opinions. But I tell you what, man, sometimes with some people, the empty goddamn can rattles the loudest. Right?
Oh, for sure.
So, it's a lot going on. Plenty to get to. We welcome you in live to the Hurrdat Sports Bar studio. Live from H&H. It is good to be back. I got my main man Ravi with me. That is a shot in the arm after however many hours. I can tell I've been showering in a foreign place. My skin is extra dry. I didn't open my garage last night till 2:58.
Oh, that's earlier than I thought you were going to get in.
So 3 was where I was giving myself.
Yeah. I thought 3 was best case scenario.
It was. And so I mean, for all intents and purposes, 3 a.m.
Yeah.
I looked at the garage door opener, and I'm one of those guys that has to unpack.
Oh, okay. So what time did you get to bed?
3:31.
Oh, that's not terrible.
No, it's actually not. The only thing I'm mad about is I haven't gotten a chance to rewatch the game. Right. So a lot of what we'll talk about today
is off an initial watch.
Is off the initial watch, right? And I didn't get television.
Yeah.
I didn't listen to television. I don't know what the broadcast said because
are you in or out or on Gus Johnson?
I don't mind Gus. I chopped it up with Gus.
I like the energy for sure.
Yeah, me too, right?
Yeah.
And I get it. Some people are out. That was his kick return call?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't all that sweet, but
especially considering he's usually over the top with the energy, right?
Yeah, I don't mind Gus. I'm not one of those. He's okay.
I like the energy he brings to the game. I know it frustrates some people. They feel like maybe he's not as tuned in sometimes in terms of his details.
During halftime, Gus sat in the hallway and ate some what appeared to be. Well, it was something out of a paper cup with a spoon. I don't know if it was ice cream, soup, chili.
My guy's just eating soup at halftime.
On his keister, legs spread out like he was at the house in front of the TV in the living room, chilling.
Listen, when you're Gus Johnson, you can get comfortable.
Yeah, and you know what? Nobody knocked the hustle. Nobody. It's not like. Yeah. I mean, it's a narrow hallway and it's fairly secure up there, and it's whatever. But yeah, Gus just kind of does. Well, there I am. Gus just kind of does his own thing. So. It's cool, man. Fantastic show coming up today. We got our Coach's Corner with Larry Martin. We got our little high school segment with Mike Sautter, and we got my main man Verz at 9:45. Who I'm sure will have plenty of thoughts. We haven't talked to him since Bennington and Scott last week. He may flush it and put it behind him.
Yeah, for sure.
That's kind of his style. He may have some shots, but man, it is good to be back after a very. It was not. I've been in the, we've obviously been in that situation. You fly with the team, you're coming back after a loss.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. For some reason, this one felt a little bit different. I don't know if it was because of our level of optimism, but
how so? How did it feel different? Like it was more disappointing. How when you say it feels
so
different?
in my head? So there. Let me just preface this by saying, and keep me on track here with this, because I'll talk about my vantage point, what I want
for sure.
And what I thought going in, and it may be different than the coaches.
Okay.
And it's not to say that mine is better or mine is worse. I'm willing to entertain that I could be being a little myopic in terms of what I wanted going in.
Okay.
But I want you to some checks and balances of what we talked about going into the offseason, and what we saw last night. Because this is what's kind of bugging me.
Okay.
I feel like there was only a handful of people that picked us to win. Okay.
We were two of them
that actually thought we were going to win.
Yeah.
And then I get the feedback and my experts and some people that like to cover and talk about the team that
maybe aren't experts.
I don't even see them. Like, I don't even know how you would know.
Yeah.
Right. And that's okay too. There's one guy in particular. God. It's going to come out eventually.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to call him on some BS, but that's where I'm at today.
Okay.
So, and we're going to figure this out because the sky is not really falling.
Well, especially in a game where, like you said, most people didn't think we were going to win.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then we're like piling on.
So how can you panic about a thing that you predicted to happen?
It's like, oh, same old Nebraska. And yeah, in some ways, yeah, but we got to talk about what we think is fixable and what isn't, right? Because I mean, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that.
There's a lot that's fixable for sure, right? So here's where I kind of wanted to start is we did a podcast last week a lot about Jeff Sims.
Right.
Obviously, he's a big figure.
Was that two? That was 2 weeks ago.
Maybe it's 2 weeks ago.
So can a leopard change his spots?
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
And obviously, he's a big figure in what happened yesterday, both positive and negative, right? Because I know you were not totally sure how he would do on designed runs.
Yeah.
And I thought he did really well on the design runs.
Yeah.
I thought he read them pretty well. I thought he made good decisions on the runs. We also talked about, okay, are they going to put him in positions to be a different guy than he was at Georgia Tech?
Yeah, that was your baby, right? That kind of like clued me into, okay, you can convince me that he can be something different than what I thought, because your thing was, well, it's up to the adults to put him in positions to be successful.
Right.
Okay.
And honestly, that was my one. The third interception was my one, I guess, real bugaboo in the situation. Now, the one right before halftime. So that was the second one, right?
Yeah.
He had he had Nate Borkacher. I thought open.
I'm dialing that play up in my head before they even break the huddle, because I said, and I was like, take a shot here. And then
to score a touchdown.
Yeah,
right?
G-Sharp,
8 seconds left.
G-Sharp was kind of talking to me a little bit, and they were huddled up, and I was like, I changed my mind. Let's take the 3.
I didn't hate the play call.
Then they broke the huddle, and I was like, I think they might be thinking the same thing I'm thinking. You saw a short motion from IGC, because the whole time I wanted to ISO Borkacher, right? I felt like he had a favorable matchup, and everybody was. So I don't have the television. First of all, it was like pixelating, and it was above my right shoulder, so I didn't really want to pay attention. So I didn't get a ton of the replays. But everybody was telling me when they broke the huddle, it seemed as though the staff was talking to Sims about Borkacher.
Yeah, and he had him.
Well, he's wide open.
I mean, he's
wide open.
That's exact. I mean, you dial that play up. It was a great play call.
Yeah,
because you have the guy you want. Because you're talking about tight ends, you want your red zone target. Had him wide open, posted up, had his dudes boxed out, ready to go in the end zone, right? So I love the play call. Don't love the throw that was decided to make.
Yeah,
right?
so I'm going back, and I think you said real time, hey, at the end of the day, it's still up to the coaches to put
him in good positions.
Him in good positions. And if you don't think, I'm ad-libbing here a little bit, but if you don't think that guy's capable of making good decisions, it doesn't matter. Basically, it doesn't matter what you know as a coach. If he's not capable of executing
if he shows you over and over again that he is not capable
then
of
that's
executing.
on us, right?
So that one I didn't mind as much because I like the play call. Obviously, he makes the wrong throw. The one that I have a really hard time with is the third interception. They're over midfield. They've got a little over a minute left and a timeout. They're running the ball pretty well in the second half, I thought. I thought they had kind of worn down Minnesota's defense a little bit. And then you have the pass play that, sure, it definitely would have got you into field goal range. I get that.
Which one? Oh,
the third interception.
The one that he tried to force
to Washington.
To Marcus?
Yes. Yeah. Definitely would have got you into field goal range, but you didn't have to make that throw then to get there. You had time, you had a timeout, and you'd been moving the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that really frustrated me because he's already thrown 2 picks at that point, right? Both of them were not great decisions. He had a couple other throws that weren't great decisions that didn't end up in picks. I'm thinking of the double coverage to Billy Kemp early where he sails over him. Probably should have been a pick as well. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, he hasn't made terrific decisions kind of looking at the middle of the field where there's some traffic. Mm-hmm. You're moving the ball anyway, running the ball. You've got time. You've got a timeout. Why does that play call have to be made right there? Right? That's easy for me to say. I'm away from it. It's in the moment. But that's the one that really, really frustrated me because you'd already seen some bad decisions from him at that point.
Did you get the sense that because I saw this a lot in college football the first weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to is either G Sharp or Avery pregame at the stadium where I had a certain number of plays, right, mm-hmm. that I thought Nebraska could get off. And I was talking about run ratio. I'm like, hey, let's keep a close eye on. I want to chart
mm-hmm.
handoff runs versus quarterback runs versus passes because I have a number in my mind.
And like design runs versus scrambles versus sacks.
But then I was thinking, shoot, I have to negotiate. I have to make allowance for the new college football rules because far it just seems like coaches are struggling with the play clock and how it works. Now I don't. I'm speculating. It's not. I haven't asked Coach Rhule yet. I haven't talked to Sat or anybody about this because the only coaches that I talked to last night post game were Coach Knighton and Coach Coop.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of operating on
whose units I thought did terrific, by the way.
Yeah, there's definitely in my best Clint Eastwood deal. There's some good, there's some bad, and there's some ugly
for sure.
But I do think, and we're at 888. How can everybody get a hold of us? You're at, what's your Twitter handle?
At RALULLA, R.A. Lulla.
Yep, I'm at Damon Benning.
And then you can email us on thedbshow@hurrdatsports.com.
We got a lot of folks already on our YouTube page. You can get at us that way. Or you could just hit us up the old-fashioned way, like Smith and Barney.
Warhorse Hotline.
888-638-4876. So I'm curious, but I just the play clock is kind of bugging me a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I want this was my take going in.
Sure,
right where DB was right, where DB was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, for a while now, I said I Minnesota's gonna throw the ball.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And you nailed that. Yeah.
Right. And I was hoping for some identity crisis. That's what I kept calling it. They had it, right? They threw the ball
44 times.
They threw the ball a ton. I felt like they are still trying to figure out who they are. Okay. I felt like Nebraska defensively was going to be okay in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of got that right. I like the secondary. I like the D-line for the most part. I was getting a lot of feedback early on social media.
Mm-hmm.
No pressure, no pressure, no pressure. And you guys got to understand something. Those first couple of series, outside of the drag route,
mm-hmm.
Calic Manis, a couple times he flushed himself. A couple of other times, I felt like the rush was okay for what it was. I mean, it was literally 1, 2, 3, get rid of the football.
Yeah, they were getting rid of it fast.
Right? I mean, Crooms was kind of working in the slot and D-Jack Jackson was was working some one-on-ones with some choice routes.
And what I thought changed, because there was more pressure in the second half, right?
Yeah.
What I thought changed was I thought Nebraska kind of started covering those underneath routes a little bit more aggressively.
Yeah, they were. I think they were getting some underneath. Guys were getting to their drops
and trusting their back end a little bit more because they saw Omar Brown and Deshaun Singleton make some plays. And because of that, he wasn't getting the 1, 2, 3 balls out. Then Nebraska's D line had a chance to get there.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I thought. I mean, are they wearing down the offensive line a little bit? Maybe there's some of that in there. We heard a lot about fourth quarter and being the team that's physically dominant in the fourth quarter at the end of games. But really what I thought was the defensive adjustment where they were taking away the underneath stuff, the quick stuff, so the D-line could get there. And I think it's because they decided they trusted their back end a lot more.
Yeah, so I like that. But it just in my head, it just seems like it played out kind of how we thought. We thought the defense was ahead of the I'm just talking about the general narratives, not DB. So sometimes you may have to ask me, is this what you thought or is this what I think the
general public? Yeah.
So the general perception was we thought that the defense was a little bit ahead of the offense and the offense was going to be a work in progress.
Yeah.
Because I was fairly specific about I'm worried about them being able to get chunk plays. Mm-hmm. And the thing that drives me that I think I tried to speak this into existence and it's not really what they thought unless
the coaching staff?
Yes. Okay. Unless it just got away from them. What do you think that is?
Too many QB design runs.
Too many QB runs.
Yeah.
So
I have a question there, though.
Go ahead.
If that's the thing that you feel confident Jeff Sims can do, isn't that what you have to lean into?
Let me tell you why yes and no.
Okay.
So yes, you have to do what you do well, to get you through. Here's the thing, though. You had a lot of the offseason to develop something else to buy you some time. And it seems like they like their running back room
more than the rest of us.
A ton. Well, I felt like I was kind of being Denny Downer. I was like, I joked, maybe I'm just the uptight, insecure running back, but I wasn't.
I mean, I said all offseason solid, not special.
So, but if you want to play that way, and if you want to be able to have some attrition, you have to kind of stay with it.
Yeah.
Right. So
in order to wear them down for the fourth quarter, you have to keep pounding at the rock,
so
right?
that's the thing. Like you just can't magically get to the fourth quarter and want to pound the rock and get into 4-minute offenses because that's not really what we saw.
So here's my question, though. Does the QB designed run have any of the same effect as running with the running backs in terms of wearing down the defense? Because you're still getting downhill with your O-line, right?
I don't think so because this is me now. Coaches may be like, well, whatever. I don't think Sims is built like that for the long haul. So
sure.
are you putting a Band-Aid over a bullet hole, or is that how you can play all year?
Well, so let me ask you this though. So if Sims isn't capable of doing this all year, let's say,
and maybe he is. I got to think
a big guy.
I have to. I see. This is where I think it's just a me thing.
Okay.
I just don't think in the long term. Maybe I'm jaded because I can't. I just don't like what's happened with Nebraska sometimes with the QB design runs and the run game, because I said this for 10 years, and so maybe this is confirmation bias. So like I said, somebody may have to check me. It just doesn't typically bode well as the season wears on with such heavy QB-centric run game.
So I want to touch on something that Matt Rhule said about the QB run game.
Yeah.
So he said that they didn't necessarily intend for him to run it that much, but there were some read plays that he read, I think, correctly.
Correct.
And kept it, right?
Yeah.
So if you're running those, this might be one of those that's like, hey, sometimes he has 7 of those QB runs because he ends up giving it, and sometimes he's going to have 14.
100%.
And I think after they watch that tape, they're going to say, hey, we probably need to stop Jeff Sims from running the ball. Maybe that opens up for the running backs later.
100% that could be a thing. So I'm willing to chill on that. I think that's the part where that's one of the things where I'm like, okay, is that a Damon thing, or that I'm nitpicking at, or is that? And when I heard that, I was like, okay, I'm going to take some solace in that. But the beautiful thing about it is, It wasn't a good game on the sidelines either, I think, from the staff.
How so?
Well, number one, it seemed rushed. Like the whole thing kind of seemed rushed. And so I'm like, okay, it's first game jitters. You're still trying to figure out with one another, what are the vantage points? Because I have to get a sense of who's upstairs and who's on the field. Because I think one of the disadvantages to your offensive coordinator being on the field is you can't see how plays developed real time so you got to be trusting whomever is upstairs to say, okay,
listen, be in your ear and tell you what's
going
on.
Hey, we're close there. That was, maybe a little cut back here, or press the play side crease. That could have been here. Or, hey, they're cheating, or whatever, right? Whatever the dialogue
they're
is.
Seeing, yeah.
But one of the pros is you get a good feel
for what your guys are feeling,
because you're right down there. You're right down there with them. So I have to kind of watch that
a little more. With, because Satterfield's also QB coach, right? So when you've got a guy like Sims that maybe you feel like you need to walk him through things a little bit, is that maybe part of it where you're like, hey, I need to be with this guy?
Yeah, or yes, maybe, but I think sometimes we can see things upstairs that they're not seeing downstairs. But then there's the reason. So then there's just concept wise, like, what are my strengths right now? And I felt like fullbacks and tight ends should have been big last night.
And we didn't see hardly any.
Right? I think Borkacher was the only tight end with a catch, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
I think he had 1 for 4, maybe.
Borkacher had 1 for 4. You did have Harburg lined up as an H-back with 1.
Yeah, the little slip, right? Okay, yeah,
so
on the little boot waggle.
So out of those position groups that we like, the positionless guys, the tight ends, H-backs, fullbacks that we like and that we think need to be a key part of this offense, we had 2 catches for 14 yards total. And I don't think we had any more targets, really.
So then that's why I got to ask myself, okay, is that a Damon thing? Or is that something I think they want to do? Because when I'm watching Minnesota play defense and you have your top 2 linebackers or inside guys are out, I was like, ooh, this might be tailor-made for some body blows here with, Fedoni or Borkacher or
I don't even think Fedoni had a target.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Didn't have a ton of targets for Borkacher.
Now, what I don't know is did they not trust the intermediate hook to curl passing game?
So that's what I thought. That's where my mind went when you were saying that, hey, I think the middle of the field is going to be open. I was like, yeah, that's where I trust Jeff Sims the least.
Yeah.
I think. Because I don't think he's seeing that very well.
So like if I'm the one thing that I think makes this different is when I get on the plane, they're already rolling tape. I mean, because we're obviously, we're bottom of the food chain, right? The network crew, right?
The call,
so we're on like bus 5 of 5.
Okay.
And so I already see them on the iPads, and I'm confident that they'll adjust because I feel good about what the overall plan is, what we've heard versus what happened last night and their whole rule. This is tricky, right? And we'll get to this. To be accountable, the 1% better, that's top to bottom.
Yeah.
That's coaching, that's players, that's everything. And so I think they'll take a good deep dive.
Jay, stay right there. We've got more coming up next on Benning and Lulla.
We'll be right back in 5 minutes. We'll be right back in 4 minutes. We'll be right back in 3 minutes. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. We'll be right back in 1 minute. We'll be right back in 30 seconds. Hurrdat Sports presents the Damon Benning Show with Ravi Lulla.
Yeah, he had the in the scrimmage. He fumbled the football, he fumbled it a couple times, and so we know that Anthony can make a ton of plays. He has to protect the football, and especially in those moments, right? We're in 5 points. It's in 2 minute, 4 minute. Everyone on the team knows how we want to run the football. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out. And Anthony tried to fight for more yards. Credit to their guys. So saw the replay up there, came in and punched the ball out. That's championship football, and that's they made the play at the end that we needed to make. We couldn't make a play at the end, and they did. So. In terms of Anthony, I'm never going to throw a guy under the bus. He feels terrible in there, but there were a lot of plays we could have fixed better.
We're back with you on a Football Friday here on the Damon Benning Show with Ravi Lulla, getting into the deep water on some of the things that happened last night with Nebraska dropping its opening game to Minnesota. Some of the stuff I've seen on Twitter and social media is a little bit wild. It's a little bit out there.
Yeah, I gotta do a better job of not feeding into that but there's just some people I and shame on me that I should expect better from that I just don't. I'm either gonna have to mute or I don't know, unfollow or whatever. It's kind of petty to be cryptic, so I don't want to do that. But I'm just telling you, when you have former players that I just think what are you trying to do? I feel like Carl Pelini in the locker room. Do you pay attention? Do you pay attention at all, or are you just helicoptering in with some thoughts? And I think with great power comes great responsibility. So If you have a decent sized audience, man, like, come on, man, like get it together.
Well, and a lot of the former players, right, yourself included, have kind of a built-in credibility, and frankly, some of them don't deserve it.
Wow.
If we're being real here, like, listen, I didn't play football at any level really at all, like, basically, and so there's a hesitancy from some people to trust my eyes versus somebody else's eyes that was on the field, especially at a program like Nebraska, right?
Although I'm not one of those people that thinks you had to have been a chef to know what good food tastes like.
But there are some people like
if you get into the intricacies and stuff, okay.
Yeah, there's some things about schemes and assignments and things like that you're going to understand that I don't really. But I know what I don't know, right? And that's kind of the important thing. It seems like some people don't know what they don't know, or they just say things to get reactions out of people. And that's the thing that makes me mad.
I think it's the latter.
But we've got our guy Jay here on.
I want to get back to Coach Rhule's quote too, because I'm going to be honest and throw myself under the bus.
On Anthony?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to Jay on the Warhorse Hotline first, and then we'll get back to Anthony Grant. Jay, how are you this morning?
I'm all right. How are you guys doing?
Jay, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man. Oh, well, you got back pretty fast there, DB.
Well, you see the team. The team doesn't stay a second night, so we come back, and they did a good job. It was TSA had a 20% wand rule, so only 20% of the travel party had to be wanded. So, we took us right to the plane, and we did the security check there. So, I think it was wheels up at 110, maybe.
Oh, wow. Well, let me say my little piece, man. I reserved my whole thought process on Coach Rhule until I saw this, bro. I had to. I didn't want to be unfair. And for the first 3 quarters, I was like, I think dude could be a genius. Like, it seems like he's trying to make sure that they have what it takes to win in the fourth quarter. So my assessment of Coach Rhule and his staff is that we could tell that they're seasoned. They understand the game of football. I think they are attempting the best they can to work with what they have, but I'm optimistic about what they can come up with in the future. In respect to offense, I think they were being a little vanilla. I'm optimistic that they were being vanilla, that they were leaving certain things out of the game plan for future games because I felt like they thought they could do a certain thing to Minnesota. And what I do to Minnesota, I don't know if it was executed. Well, I mean, obviously run with Jeff Sims, right? And I thought maybe they thought they could get to the corners or the edges on the tackles with the running back.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I would have saw
just because there was so much perimeter run game.
Yeah. It felt like, and I felt like that's where they knew. To be honest, you know what I'm saying. And this kind of leads into my assessment of the offensive line. Offensive line are big guys with big upper body strength, with slow feet, bro. They have no feet because they have slow feet. The blocking schemes cannot get crazy. I think the best thing that they could do is push people forward. Like when you saw the first play of the game, bro, when they came off the sneak, like the quarterback sneak, I thought that was great. It's a 5-yard push. Guys got low and just moved. So I was like, if that's the thing, if we just gonna push people forward, I could see us being successful in that. With the big back, and with the big quarterback, you saw all 6'4", 220 pounds of that man yesterday, running the ball, and I was impressed by that. I was impressed by the way it looked. I don't know if they were all drawn for him to keep, because it's a lot of times on those big runs he was faking out the camera,
right,
with the zone. So I love the zone read concept. Wish it could be a little bit more mature and add a pass option to where we can dink and dunk off that. If we can dink and dunk off that zone read, we'll be tough to beat on the edges. I just wish we had make some quicker feet on the offensive line. Defensively. Oh, and 2, obviously we have no wide receivers. My man here came in and played wide receiver.
Hey.
Just to get it off the top. They were like, somebody got to bust it off the top. He'll come here.
Listen. He was open for about 6 days too. I appreciate the call, Jay. So that was one of those on the skinny post, you got to throw that to the near go post and not the far go post. So
which one, to Hill?
Yeah, he should have kept it up the left hash, and the ball made it over to the right hash on the skin. So I'm a moral victory guy. I'm just glad Hill didn't get frustrated.
Sure.
So that lets me know that he's
mentally in the right place.
Right. Which I think is a lot of the team. Because the one thing I do have the most trust in is the staff will take some self-inventory. Because I think they know that it starts with them.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Like they absolutely know that it starts with them. They will self-scout, take a look at, the perimeter run game, one back run game, players, not plays. They'll do all of that. Right. Clock management. I think it's their first run. And I'm not here to, I think the difference between an excuse and an explanation is accountability. I think they'll take accountability for the play man,
the things that
they can control.
Right.
I'll go back to something. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I know you wanted to get to something Coach Rhule said about Anthony Grant.
Yeah, so selfishly,
that's been kind of your guy too.
The 100% truth.
Yeah,
I wanted Anthony Grant in the game too.
He was running the ball better.
Like for whatever the reason, I wanted him in the game too because I think he's the better runner.
I thought. I mean, he looked like the better runner last night.
And like full disclosure, it's an emotional tug of war for me because the non-coach in me is like, this guy's in my opinion, the better runner.
Yes.
The coach in me would say, what's my risk reward?
Well, that's the thing you have to weigh, right?
But
not just with him, but with Sims too.
Right. So if my quarterback doesn't have the governor, I don't know if in good unless so this is what Coach Rhule would say. He'd be like, listen, DB, the difference between my first running back and my second running back is not near as much as it is between my first quarterback and my second quarterback. He may say that to me. I don't know if that's true. I don't, but he may come back and say that to me.
And that's a reasonable explanation for the reason that Sims is treated differently.
But guess what you have to do? You have to play in a way where you have options.
Right.
That would be my response. Like you have to play the game in such a way where you're not married to one particular thing where you put stuff in harm's way.
Yeah, you're jeopardizing the success of the rest of the team because you haven't given yourself options at the quarterback spot or the running back spot or wherever it is. We only have about a minute here, so I'll save kind of my larger topic between Sims and Grant.
Is it wrong that I was like people kept asking me, well, why was Grant in the game? He was third, fourth
he's the better runner.
And I'm like,
he was only third or fourth string because of the fumble.
And I don't know if I'm right. I'm not saying like it just feels like if I'm being 100% honest, I wanted him in the game.
Yes.
Right. Like I can't go back and say, oh no, I didn't. And I don't listen. It's not personal with the run. I just know what I like. And, if you would have given me Ramir John, any of the guys were fine. I did feel like Irvin started to get a little bit of a lather.
He did. In the second half, he started running better.
But this is the thing, and I'm going to say this. I think Irvin is a rhythm back. So unless you're going to give him
ride with him, 18, 20
I don't think you're going to see his best. I don't think he's a call me baby, call me. I don't think he's a situational
spot
guy.
Back.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
So I think that's going to be the conundrum they got to work through.
Coming up next, we've got Omaha North head coach Larry Martin. We'll get back into Nebraska stuff right after that. You're listening to Benning and Lulla on Hurrdat Sports Radio.
The show will be back in 4 minutes. The show will be back in 3 minutes.
All through the year.
The show will be back in 2 minutes. The show will be back in 1 minute. The show will be back in 30 seconds. Hurrdat Sports presents the Damon Benning Show with Ravi Lulla. It's the Friday Coach's Corner.
This is a process that we're going through. And although we're looking for the winning edge, shortcuts aren't one of them.
Hello? This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game.
Can you believe they called that play?
High formation, quick 141.
94. Fullback banana, hot right.
Well, that's why nasty 16 lead pass.
Just what were those coaches thinking?
They are who we thought they were. We let them off the hook.
On the Friday Coach's Corner.
Hey, the spot! He's up here, sir.
You misplaced the line of scrimmage, you bunch of dummies.
It's the Friday Coach's Corner.
So welcome in the Friday Coach's Corner on the DB Show with my main man, Ravi Lulla. One of my favorites. I'm a little biased. Just a little biased. The head Viking.
You guys know each other a little bit?
A good buddy of mine. I cheer for him as we welcome in Coach Larry Martin. Coach, I'm uncomfortable saying your first name, so is it okay if I just call you Coach?
Oh, it's always good to hear your voice, my man. Always good to hear your voice.
How are we doing this morning? You ready to go?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Just like everybody else, the anticipation to see how well your team improved from week 1 to week 2 and battle a little bit of those allergies a little bit. So personally, yeah, I got to get going here a little bit.
I know how you get on game days too. You're gonna somehow will yourself into being emotional.
Oh yeah, we're looking forward to it, Coach.
Coach, obviously in week 1 you had a really good performance in your win against Bellevue West, but you mentioned some of those improvements from week 1 to week 2. Where are some of the areas you're hoping to see that improvement?
Well, first and foremost, special teams wise, It's always a work in progress for us. Making sure that, with that we're just sound and we're not beating ourselves. And so that's been a huge point of emphasis this week in regards to that. Secondly, I just thought maybe we could run the ball a little bit more consistently. But hats off to Bellevue West. They did a lot of things of slanting and blitzing and, for week one for us. And I thought for the most part, our kids handled it pretty well, but I'd like to just see us be a little bit more efficient down inside the red zone. And then defensively, it's a completely different offense that we're going to see this week. And we had a couple of weeks to prepare for Bell West, but I tell you what, our kids played fast and it was fun to watch and competed when the ball was in the air. But like I said, it's you got 1 week now. The third piece about all that too is for us last week, we went in the morning and before school. And so this week it's been a little bit of a drag where they got to go to school all day and then come to practice after school. And those of us, Coach, this, but we're doing it for a long time. That first week of school where they got to go to school and then go to practice and all the demands we put on them and stuff, it takes its toll. So I would tell you that on Wednesday was probably our best practice of the week. Monday and Tuesday, we were struggling a little lethargic, and I think the weather obviously played a little bit of role into that too. But we're super excited tonight, bringing a great football team with Millard West to our place that, was right there with their first opponent, and can't wait to get out there and play.
Let me ask you something, and this is on the heels of last night's game with Nebraska and Minnesota, and Minnesota's really good outside the numbers. And I said, well, I think one benefit for Nebraska going in is maybe they'll suffer from a little bit of an identity crisis where they'll be somebody that they haven't been because that's where the strength of their team lies. Could that be you guys? See, I mean, we're weak side blast, your ISO, your power, but you're so good outside the numbers. Serco is much improved with his strength and size. Will this be air raid Vikings, or there's no way Coach Martin and Coach O'Neill will just be throwing it around the yard, will they?
We said this, Coach, openly. 21 personnel, probably, a tight end and two backs in the backfield might not be our number one formation this year. We certainly don't want to lose that identity of our program that's been very successful formula for us a long period of time, but at the end of the day, Todd and his staff Coach O'Neill and his staff will do a great job of getting the kids that are playmakers the ball, bottom line. And when you have a quarterback like Sebastian, who's a student of the game that can, bring another perspective to our offense, we've often felt, this being with us for a long time too, if we can, have a very successful passing game, it just helps open up and beautifies the offense as well.
Coach, going into last week, obviously, a lot of the challenges that Bellevue West presents with, their speed on the outside and their quarterback play and all those things. What are some of the things that Millard West, with not as heralded of a roster, at least from the outside, what are some of the challenges that the Wildcats present with you this week?
Well, they're just sound. They're very well coached. They play with great technique. They don't beat themselves. As you sit there and watch that first game against Millard South, I don't think there was a turnover in the game. So, they're not going to beat themselves. And so they're just extremely well coached, very sound in what they do. The one thing is no matter what defense you run, whether you're an even man or an odd man front guy, they are very smart coaches in terms of going to be able to attack the weaknesses of any defense. And so I would tell you that the thing that we've tried to do is educate our kids in terms of where our bubbles are and where our weaknesses are and what they're going to do to attack that, and then let the games begin, right? So that's what I would tell you.
Yeah, they do a tremendous job of self-scouting. They're pretty balanced. And now that it's interesting because is it a blessing or no? You saw a defense that will gap you out. They put guys on the move, right? They're high pressure. Millard West a little bit more methodical, very good with reading blocks, situationally fitting. Is there a pro or a con to that, or is it you take it as you go? A couple of different worlds.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Coach. I mean, for us, I would say last year defensively, and you learn a lot. This is your second year getting to play a team, and our defensive coaches have done a great job. But our outside linebackers weren't used to playing on tight ends. Obviously, with week one with Mike's prolific offense, you just they have that tight end, some, but not a lot.
Yeah.
And so our young guys didn't handle playing on tight ends very well last year, and I'm extremely hopeful that they're going to play a significant amount better this year. But and then just it's just two completely different offenses.
Yeah.
So, we just really got to, be sound in what we do, make sure that our eyes are in the right spot. And, and then offensively, like you said, sometimes I think you got to use that to your advantage too. So we know that they're going to do certain things or line up certain ways, possibly against what we're doing. And sometimes you can use their technique, hopefully, against them too, that that they're going to play with extreme technique and, maybe influence them here or there once in a while.
Yeah, that's going to be a fantastic cat and mouse. I don't miss that at all. So right with trap, veer, QB run game, what you'll see on offense. They'll keep you balanced. You obviously got a burner on the outside. How big is it for you to make sure you don't take away from your team's aggressiveness? You were so physical watching that game last week on WS replay page, right? You're getting good penetration, you're getting up the field. That might not always be the best antidote, but you don't want to coach, you don't want to take the aggressiveness out of your guys. What's the dilemma there?
Well, I would tell you that shifted on Monday after practice. I mean, we were trying to probably do too much, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And they do it, like I said, they do a phenomenal job of attacking, the weaknesses or the bubbles of the defenses that you're going to play. And so we just have tried to simplify things as much as we could. And because I do believe that if your kids play fast, that can cover up for a lot of stuff. So that's been our point of emphasis. They got Coach's son is a very talented quarterback. He does a lot of things very well. And then obviously you throw in the dimension of his ability to be able to run. We just didn't want our kids overly thinking too much. And so since Tuesday on, we've just tried to keep, somewhat simple, hopefully, and then just make sure that our kids are playing fast.
Coach, I always wonder about coaches' abilities to kind of evaluate and reevaluate their team in real time. What's something you thought you knew about your team prior to game one that maybe you're reevaluating now heading into week two?
That's a great question. I would say for me personally is, I looked at it from a offensive standpoint. I just want to see us be more efficient down inside the red zone. And we from an offensive standpoint, I'm not saying that we were bad at it, but I don't want to tip our hat or whatever, but obviously when we got in the red zone, we wanted to pound the rock, you know what I'm saying? And so we've done a lot of red zone passing and getting better at that, because obviously we all know that the field shrinks down there. And so we want to be efficient and very good at that. So, so that's been I don't want to say necessarily adjustment, but it is. I mean, coaches are creatures of habits too, and what's worked for you in the past. But I've been proud of our guys to make sure that we're, taking the talent that we have and utilizing them the best that we can. We've been a lot of different formations, multiple formations now. And so we've got to, go against those tendencies and the best we can. But yet, to me, that was the one thing is I just want to see us, because we left some points out there on the board last Friday night. So we want to make sure that we get those taken care of.
Coach, best wishes to you. Looking forward to watching you guys this season from afar, and who knows what down the road brings.
Yeah, just stay healthy and keep getting better, right, Coach?
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words the other day, too. You didn't have to say that. I appreciate it.
You're good, and make sure that you give that son of yours a big hug from the old man, all right?
Yeah, you got it. I appreciate that. He's a fan.
Right.
Thanks, Coach.
No doubt. You bet. Thank you for having me. Bye now.
That's Omaha North head coach Larry Martin. Great stuff with him. We'll jump back into Nebraska at the top of the 8 o'clock hour here on Benning and Lulla.
We will be back in 4 minutes.
Under center, 2nd and 9 from the Gopher, 34-yard line. Toss sweep. Anthony Grant looking to throw the ball back to Sims. Wide open. And it's a lateral. It comes off of Sims' legs. He picks it up, throws it downfield, wide open at the goal line. It's a touchdown. Alex Bullock.
With the burst, gets it midfield.
Be back in 3 minutes.
Brown, and he has a pick. Omar Brown stepping in front of it. Back home to Minneapolis for Omar Brown, and he has a pick. Bryce Williams, the back. Cadillac Manis in the gun. They shift the tight end.
We will be back in 2 minutes. We will be back in 1 minute. We will be back in 30 seconds. Hurrdat Sports presents the Damon Benning Show with Ravi Lulla.
Bryce Williams, the back. Cadillac Manis in the gun. They shift the tight ends from the left to the right, so they go with a jumbo formation to the near side.
They like counter out of this.
Under center, Cadillac Manis. Back to throw on a play action. Looking to take a shot, throws it downfield. Pass is intercepted, I think. Picked off. Huskers intercept one at the 11-yard line. It's Omar Brown stepping in front of it. Back home to Minneapolis for Omar Brown, and he has a pick.
Kicking off hour number 2 here on the Damon Benning Show with Ravi Lulla.
Hurrdat.
There we go. It's a good first hour there. We got into a lot of stuff. Really appreciate Coach Martin joining us on game day for him. Obviously, there's more Nebraska stuff to get into as well. One of the things that we started kind of hinting on. Oh, actually, before we do that.
By the way, do you know how good of a play that was from Omar Brown?
Incredible play.
Real talk. You thought that was like a bad throw at first, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
It was an unbelievable play.
Really, really good play. Yeah,
he played his rear end off.
And he's one of the guys you mentioned post-game with Avery as one of the bright spots of what we saw yesterday.
So he's back. He's back to that guy that I almost was ready to have to eat some crow.
Yeah.
I called him a Sunday guy when he got to Nebraska.
Well, he played like a Sunday guy last night.
He's really good.
He really, really is.
How about him playing around the line of scrimmage?
I thought, man, there were a lot of bright spots on the defense.
Yeah, well, and we're going to get to those. So here's the thing: if you want to be optimistic, the adults in the room got to be adults.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And that was about as upset, but not upset as I've seen Coach Rhule. And I think he knows there's a lot of things that he would probably take back.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I trust him, because I don't think.
You don't think he'll keep trying to do the same things and keep getting it wrong?
I don't. I think there's about an 8-play sequence that he would like to have back, because I know somebody on the sidelines wanted to check for rushing yards in a particular quarter, and I bet you it was for the head man to know where they were at, because I'm not sure he was comfy with what's going on. A little bit of an insight on how the sausage is made. That's just hopefully why you listen to us, because you're not going to get most of this stuff anyplace else.
Let's hit the War Horse
or anyplace else.
Let's hit the War Horse hotline before we jump back into it. We've got our guy, Michigan Lance, on the line. Michigan Lance, what do you got for us?
Man, good morning, boys.
What's up, Lance?
Hey, DB, wow, you got back quick, man. You wasn't playing on that red eye, huh?
No, listen. So when you travel with the team, you come back when they do. Like, they're not staying the night again. I fly with the team.
Oh, okay. I'm like, man, how did this dude get this turnaround going?
Listen, man, I was in the bed all of about 2 hours and 20 minutes. No cap.
Wow.
I'm good though. Right, yeah. I'm good. I'm ready to go, man. We got GI tonight. I'm rolling.
No, I hear you, man. Who you guys got tonight?
Grand Island.
Oh, tough one. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The saving grace is it's a similar run scheme as last week, because Prep ran so much zone. Like, we'll see it again, because they're a big inside-outside zone team. We didn't have to reteach anything new.
Yeah, you guys will be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are like Alabama, the SEC.
Listen, we're not playing against GI. We're playing against ourselves, my man. So we got to get better.
Hey, thank you for saying that. Thank you. Yeah, because you know you're good enough. But anyway, hey, so I got to go back from experience, man. Listen, Nebraska. I mean, you have to look yourself in the mirror, and I'm talking to fans like Nebraska right now today, and for the last several years is a losing program. And so what happened yesterday is what losing programs do. And so, but there's things that I saw him doing in the offseason that he's trying to, you just have to overcome these things, man. And it's not a quick fix. And especially when he brought, how many guys returned, 40, 50 some odd guys from last year's team?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a lot of players. And so like that losing, like it's still there. Like until you overcome it, you know, more consistently, in these close games, man, it's just hard to do. Like take Anthony Grant, right? Mm-hmm. Anthony Grant, like he had fumble issues. All right, so but guess what, Anthony? You can't run with the ball away from your body in traffic. Like you just can't do that. Like because you have an issue, and so you need to have it secure and close, 3 points of pressure on that breastplate, that high and tight, right on you. And I understand the coach's call. Like, yeah, like Anthony's the one that I've seen that can make something out of nothing. You know what I mean?
It's funny. We're having these comments on the YouTube page, and I don't know, some people are not happy with me. And I said I'm willing to eat it, right? Like,
yeah,
he just needs the least amount to go right to have success.
Exactly.
Nebraska's got away risk reward.
Mm-hmm.
Gabe Ervin is a lather guy. So if you want him to get lathered up, you got to let him get lathered up.
You got to ride.
You got to ride him.
You got to
ride
with him.
That's when he'll be at his best because he's a hammer.
Yeah.
Right.
And you saw it a little bit in the second half.
So you got to let him be a hammer. So if you're not going to play to strengths early on, then I'm going to go with the guy that can make some chicken salad.
Exactly. And that's why he's in the game. A lot of people were questioning, well, why was he in? He shouldn't have been. No, listen, man, you're trying to your run game. It was good, but it wasn't good enough with the other guys to win. So you're like, hey, man, to feel like, or let me say this, to feel comfortable that you're going to win. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know what? Hey, I want this guy in because I feel he can make a play for us. It doesn't have, and a play doesn't have to be a 50-yard touchdown.
It was almost a salt clock run, right? Penetration at the line of scrimmage, made a guy. See, that's the thing, right? So in my soul, I'm like, man, okay.
99% of the things on that run went right.
And they made a play, man. And so I get it. And I'm willing to take it, man. My man Saturday is killing me on social media. I do hit me with he's like, come on. Well, he's on the comments. He's like, come on, DB. And I don't really want to debate him because there's a part of him that's right.
At the end of the day, if you can't hold on to football,
there's a part of him that's right. I feel like the but guy, right? So I just gotta eat it. It's all good.
Yeah, but listen. But if you haven't been in those as a coach in those situations, this is where our coaching hat comes on, DB. Like, this isn't fandom. This is coaching. Like that, I know the thought process he went through as a coach to say, you know what? I need to have a play, and this is the guy that can make a play. And that's the end of it. You guys can sit here, fans, and say, well, you know, he fumbles and da-da-da-da. Yeah, but the other guys don't make plays. And guess what Minnesota's guys were doing? Making plays. Both sides of the ball.
Can I say something? This might be one of the few good things I'll say about Minnesota. I think the layperson, and even watching on TV, you say, ooh, great catch. Nobody has any idea how difficult that catch was that Jackson pulled in. Listen, so his legs are split, and he could do weight distribution on one leg in the air.
Yep.
Listen, try that at home with your legs split.
In slow motion, try it. Not even on a full sprint.
Let me say this. Go back and watch the game. Look at the guys with the C's on their chest for Minnesota. They made a lot of plays.
I'm with you. I mean, unfortunately.
The guys that were captains played like captains and playmakers.
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. And Hartzog's body language told me all I needed to know.
Oh, right.
Because he's a dog.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go fight. Listen, me and Malcolm, we can hang out.
Yeah.
And all he could do is like, hey man, tip of the cap.
He got beat on a really good route.
Hey, remember how you said Nebraska wanted to play that type of game?
Yeah.
Hey, Minnesota felt comfortable in that type of game too, and it looked like they wanted to play it too.
Yeah, they got a gift though, Michigan Lance. They got a gift.
Got a couple gifts.
Hey, but DB, that's what man. Come on, man. That happens. Listen, I'm not the gift guy. Because it goes both ways.
I understand. Newbin is a stud. He made the pick on the skinny. I thought it was a tough catch. And Gifford had the chance to get one too, right? And he didn't. So I mean, I get it. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, it goes both ways. So I'm not get a gift or luck. Man, that just happens. Or a call.
I'm with you.
That happens.
I'm not.
And so don't miss me with that. Now the guy that made it. Hey, that strip on Grant, man, that was a perfect punch, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was great play.
It was.
That wasn't an accident.
We rep that. We rep that drill. We rep that strip drill.
Exactly.
And it's and Coach Rhule wasn't just. He just wasn't giving AG some NyQuil, right? I think he really his heart hurt because that play was unbelievable. Listen, he missed the tackle. Right. He missed the tackle. If I could cut it up, and I appreciate the call, Michigan Lance.
Yep,
there was a play, and I hate to bring this back to Westside. There was a play Christian Jones made on a little quick screen against Prep, and He went for a kill shot, right around the hip area. He was going to try to dislodge some ribs.
Yeah.
Missed the tackle. He was the first one that got off the ground and was punching at the football from behind. And I know prep parents were like, "Why is he punching our play?" Listen, we're teaching that.
Yeah.
He got his ass off the ground.
Yeah.
After a missed tackle,
got back in the play.
So I couldn't be mad at that because that's
incredible effort play.
It's intentional. Yeah. That wasn't like
it's coached.
And listen, Whaley, that dude is a baller.
Yeah.
Number 5, in and out the tent. He's a monster. That dude will be playing for a long time. Let's go to Cody real quick. Cody, good morning, man. What's up? Cody, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, gentlemen?
You tell us.
Time to sleep on it. Had some time to sleep on it, and I mean, I'm coming out. I didn't expect to win that game, so that's the first thing. Is we were close, and our defense was incredible.
They're going to be okay.
I'm going to say an unpopular opinion. I'm sure I'll get killed over it. I didn't see a drop off from Henrich to Bullock.
No, and you know what? Here's the thing that I like about JB. He competes his rear end off, and he's going to get better. He's one of those guys that with reps will come the outcomes. I'll give you an example. They threw the little stick route, the little hitch outside the numbers, and I think I said real time on the broadcast, a couple of more reps with that, he'll get to the face of that number 1 receiver, not the number that he was wearing, but where he'll get to the face of Jackson. Mm-hmm. He just was a little lost on his drop point, but that comes with reps. But for him to see that to the single receiver side, I'll take that all day long, man. Bullock's got better as the game went along, and he is a hit it, split it. I'd like to play around. He was making plays without making tackles just because he would take on pullers. He's a big reason why that run game was next to nothing.
Yeah, and I mean, he was getting after the quarterback. I mean, how many times was he a split second from a sack?
I'm riding with number. I'll ride with 5. He plays hard.
And then the other two things. I know you got to go to commercial break. First up is we were physical. It's been a while since we've seen that kind of physical. Them boys were hitting last night. Yeah. And the last thing is, how awesome was it to see someone actually return a football and make a good play on the kick return?
Yeah, people slept on that. He kind of started up the middle and broke that thing. Cody, I appreciate the call. I'm a huge Ramir guy. You saw on the 3rd down the little choice route that he ran away from trips.
Yeah.
And Sims found him. Now, he was a little late getting him the ball. He made it a little closer than it had to be.
Yeah.
But in crunch time, man, think players, not plays.
Right.
Let's go to Out of Breath Brian. B, good morning. What's up, buddy?
Man, I was in a different mood when I called, but after I got done listening to Michigan Lance, and you agree.
Which part? Which part?
Man, you go back and look at them stats, okay? Dave Irvin was giving me 4 yards at least a carry in the second half.
Okay, B.
Wait, and then with 7 minutes left, I screamed out in my head the way the game was going. All we needed was a field goal and run some time off the clock.
But did you see?
I was in 4 minutes. They go 4-minute offense. Leave them with 2 minutes after you get 3 points.
Why did they have the 6 or 7 plays in a row after the 2nd and 1 where he wasn't getting the ball though? Why did that happen?
They were throwing the ball.
Okay. So you saw parts of it, right? And so you need context to what I said.
But wait a minute though. Well, I heard y'all scenario. I'm saying there's 7 minutes left. The way the game is going and our defense is playing, if you take away 4 minutes and leave them with 2.
But you have to call the game that way, B.
Yes. Yeah, but okay. You still that aside.
You can't take that out of what you can't separate that from what I said. If you're gonna ride with Irvin, he's a lather guy. You have to let him get lathered up. Once
they did,
but
why you?
Because you're skipping over the sequence where they threw the ball all the time, where they weren't giving him the ball. Once you go back into the game, I think they're thinking. This is, and I don't know if this is right. I think they told you who they wanted to go with. if what you're saying is true, right? Because I'm with you, right? Two things can be true at once. If I'm going multiple carries in a row, give me my man Gabe Ervin. He's built for it.
Yep.
He was starting to break tackles. But when they got away from the run after the 2nd and 1 on the goal line, why did they put Grant back in the game? That's so once we can answer that question.
Wait a minute. We talking a different series because the series Grant was in, all right, that Ervin was in, right? Grant was in. Did he fumble? Grant got a 2-yard run. Ervin came in and got a 4-yard run. What I just said, we're in. I'm talking situational football. Then they threw that pass and they put Grant back in. Yeah.
Look where the runs went though. Look where the runs went.
All I'm just saying.
I'm telling you it matters though. I'm telling you it matters.
I know it matters. I hear what you're saying. I'm looking at the sequence of plays right here, and I'm saying come out and run the ball. They ran the ball 3 times out of 4.
Okay.
And they fumbled. I'm just saying stop putting in the dude that fumbles all the time out of 2 of those 3 carries and keep the guy in there getting you 4. If I get 3 carries of 4 yards, you running the ball, Damon.
I'm not
running the ball during the series. You fumble. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about no other series.
I'm not debating your premise. What I'm telling you is, if you're going with the downhill runner, you need downhill run plays. There's something obviously that they don't like, or they're not comfortable with, or they think somebody does something better with edge run game, right? You're talking one back outside, like stretch, right? Maybe they don't think that's Ervin's baby. Maybe they like him more downhill. If you like him and he's in the game, then those run plays have to be tailor-made to why you like him. There's a reason. That's what I'm telling you.
I understand that.
Okay.
I understand that. I understand. So we're talking about 2 different things. I'm saying they should have put him in, and you saying they should have called plays for him.
Yeah.
Basically, we're saying the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah. Like you need the context. If he's a lather guy, give him lather plays.
Like I said, I'm just saying, and that's because I've seen too many games like that. New York Giants, Bill Parcells come down to the last second. You got to sit. That's the 4-minute offense time.
But you can't give the play calling a pass though, and just blame the players.
I'm not giving. Oh, I hadn't even got to that yet. I hadn't got to that.
Okay.
But I was going to ask you. In the first half, with the type of quarterback that I saw Sims was, and saw that he was not really going to the second read, that he was staring him down. When we got inside the 5, what's that old play where they run? Where they flood where the play action fake and they send 2 people in the end zone, 1 high low.
Yeah,
what's that concept?
We call it's either levels or layers. It's most coordinators will call that layered.
Like a QB rollout,
a layered route. Yeah, Minnesota did it to Nebraska to get a first down a couple times.
Yeah, I saw that Bill Walsh was the one that it was the West Coast offense.
That is that's a
staple that they run in the red zone.
Well done, B. That is 100% the innovator and where it came from. He's the godfather of the flooded concepts in the red zone.
I thought he was going to call. I screamed. I wanted that play because I thought it would be a simple read for him. Take 2 reads. You want to see it, throw it away, or try to get something. You can't throw it away.
With you.
The play calling was suspect. I heard you about the 8-play sequence. I was agreeing with all that. My point was just situational. Yeah, Grant can run, but for that point in time, I thought it would have been better to go with Ervin.
I'll take it. I'll take it. That we don't have to. No, that's an intelligent.
I don't. Hey, disagree with me. I don't like people to think like that.
That's and I appreciate the call. I almost gave him a compliment while he was on the phone. See, that's an intelligent phone call, right? Because I understand clearly what he's saying. So now the onus goes on. Okay, if that's what you like, because I agree with him, especially guard, center guard. But there was clearly something, and I want to know. One of our earlier callers said it about edge run game. Was it Jay? Maybe it's something they saw on the edges that wanted them to get the ball to the perimeter, or maybe they felt like they had a better matchup. Maybe they felt like maybe some of their interior line was struggling. But even in power football, they got in one back with either 12, 13, or 14 personnel. One back, 4 tight ends, one back, 3 tight ends, one back, 2 tight ends. But it was mostly one back.
Yeah.
Now, would they use it? One of the tight ends is like an H-back for either the kick out or the lead. Sure. So it's a 2-back concept, but you're not starting with 2 backs in the backfield. You're seemingly wanting to get to the edge, like power or what I would call power or lead.
So let me.
I want to know why that is. If I know why they like that or why they saw something, then we could have this conversation because there's validity to it. Like I said, I don't often get when people disagree, and I understand. Like even I just said, even Saturday, I understand. I wish I knew his name. I feel silly calling him Saturday, but like he makes some legit points. Like I'm not going to be like, man, I'm going to die on this hill. It's a risk reward thing. And if you're going to weigh the risk versus the reward, then the plays have to fit what you think those players are capable of. Just like they got the ball to Jalen Lloyd on a reverse, just like, Malachi Coleman out on the edge. That was a good old fashioned Louisiana Bayou.
Yeah.
He just didn't get him the rock. Right. I mean, on the
he
sack,
ran by him.
That ball's got to come out.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
So there are things like that where you're playing the player's strengths. The goal is to play to everybody's strength. Sometimes you just think as a play caller or a play designer that you've done your job as a coach to put players in a position to be successful. The rest is up to them.
That's fair, and we can get into this in the next segment. The problem with that, though, is let's say they called a play that got Anthony Grant in a position to be successful. On the goal line, they called a play where Borkacher's wide open on the goal line for Jeff Sims to be successful. But here's the thing. That's within their skill sets, right? To be successful in those plays.
Well, that goal line play is a 2-man concept.
No, but listen. We're putting guys in position to be successful, we think, right?
Yeah.
But at a certain point, you have to decide whether or not you trust them, even in the places where you think they can be successful. And if you don't trust Anthony Grant to hold on to the football, even on a play that Anthony Grant runs well.
Did you hear when Big Ten visited Nebraska's practice?
No.
And they talked about turnovers in the red zone? Are you misremembering, or you don't you didn't hear him say that?
When you're talking about when Big Tech Network?
Yeah.
Big Ten. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So clearly that was some people had seen before, right?
Right. So why did they in that position?
So why did they so the situational, we're cool with the situational trust?
No,
or if you're trying to build incrementally on the season, you got to start somewhere, right?
You do. Let's keep going on this. We got to hit a break.
Listen. I'm here for it. I knew this was going to be one of these days. It's all good.
Let's get back into it.
Let's try to learn and get better.
More of Benning and Lulla coming up next.
The show will be back in 5 minutes. The show will be back in 4 minutes. show will be back in 3 minutes. The show will be back in 2 minutes. The show will be back in 1 minute. The show will be back in 30 seconds. Hurrdat Sports presents the Damon Benning Show with Ravi Lulla.
I mean, he is a dual threat player. He's going to run. I mean, he wasn't running quarterback power and getting 3 and 4 yards. I mean, he was coming out with some big runs and had a chance for some more big ones. So when you have a guy like that, you have to let him spin. I think one of the big things was just some of the penalties. We only had 3 drives in the first half, and some of the penalties. One was a long drive. We took the ball in the second half. We took it the last drive. We took it from the 10 and went down and kicked that field goal. So, I thought we put some things on it. But he's one of our more dynamic playmakers, right? And he like all quarterbacks just can't throw the ball off his back leg. Especially in that situation there at the end. He knows that situation. We'll go back and look at it. What could we have called differently for him? But make no mistake, I have a ton of confidence in Jeff.
We are rolling with you here on a Friday.
It's a lot going on.
Rolling, not rowing. Come on, man.
Heck no. Oh man, listen. Your boy had to see Coach Rossi and Coach Collins.
Oh,
yeah. I was like, last time we saw you was up at the high school. I was like, cut it out. It's not funny. It's not funny.
Well, their
DBs do ball though.
They do. They played really well last night.
Do ball.
Nebraska had a hard time getting some separation with their receivers.
Yeah.
And listen, there's a lot to get into, but we were talking about this right before the break about getting guys in situations that you really first of all, where you trust them, right? Getting guys into situations where you trust what they're doing versus helping build that trust over the course of the season, right? And your point was you have to build for the long haul. I don't want to misrepresent. Make sure I'm.
I think Nebraska is playing the long game.
Sure.
Right. So if you have bad habits and you're playing the long game, like let's say I've decided, and I can't just get rid of you, right? Yeah, but you have some bad habits. I have to be able to work with you, right? So I have to make a choice. Either I have to discard you, or if we're going to be in this together, I have to allow you the opportunity to work through it.
There's a third option. There's a third option there.
Is it realistic? Is it practical?
I think so.
Okay.
You tell me if it is or not.
Well,
Okay.
I can't tell you what you think. I can only tell you if I agree or not.
No, you tell me if it's practical.
Okay.
You can tell me if it's practical. So with Jeff Sims specifically, right? Because we were talking about, hey, do you trust him to throw the ball on the goal line, stuff like that, right? So at what point do you say, hey, let's try and break these bad habits versus, hey, this is just who he is. How do we play? Because I don't think you can discard him, right?
Yeah.
If you decide, hey, this is just who he is, you probably can't break those bad habits. So at what point do you say, hey, we have to call the game in a way that doesn't put him in those positions?
Okay, so can I just ask you something real quick?
Sure.
So as I cross my legs, like, God, that hurts my... I don't know how some dudes do that, by the way.
I don't either.
I just needed to stretch my quad, so I sat like that.
I don't even have the hip flexibility to do that.
Oh, man, that can't pinch an inch. Ouch.
So it hurts your knee?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about over there. Believe me, you'd have no idea what I'm talking about. So having said that.
That's not true.
All
Keep
right.
on rolling.
I needed
Keep
a little
on
levity.
rolling.
So if Gabe is going for 8 per, right? 7 for whatever. Do you because apparently the coaching staff is either thinking what I'm thinking or something was happening with Gabe or the plays that they wanted to run, they felt like were somebody else's better plays.
I think it's the last one. I think it's the third one. I think they.
See, I don't know, but okay, let's operate under the assumption that it is.
So listen.
Let's operate under the assumption that it is.
From just watching the game.
No. You don't have to explain it. Just have conviction in it and hold on to it for a second.
I think they saw something on the outside on the running plays to the outside. I thought they had something on the outside. And I agree with you. Anthony Grant is better at running those plays than Gabe Irvin is.
Okay, so let's not make this about if one's better than the other. Okay. So for the sake of the discussion, right? Trusting and building for the long haul. Do you think that they think they need to go running back by committee?
It looks like it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So outside of the 27-yard run from Gabe Irvin, where he broke a tackle right at the line of scrimmage on a free runner hitter.
Yep.
Right. He went for 27. The other.
He was 6 for 28 outside of that.
Okay. That's still almost 5 per,
I would
right?
definitely take that.
Was that better than AG's?
Yes.
Okay. So what do you think happened in crunch time where they went back to Grant?
Honestly, I really don't know.
Okay.
I'm guessing.
I don't either.
I'm guessing it's the thing that we said where they wanted to run certain plays and they like Grant better for those plays.
I don't either, but for the sake of this discussion, do you know where I'm going with this?
Where's that?
If you're going to play the long game and you are completely weighing risk reward, I think you saw the same things happen with Anthony Grant that you're seeing happen with Jeff Sims.
Okay, elaborate on that, please.
It's hard to get better at what you're not good at without going through it. If I've decided that I need to ride with you for the long haul,
which for Sims,
so
they
at what
definitely
point?
Do, right?
So at what? I don't know. Do you?
I mean, he's kind of been their guy. How good do you feel about the rest of the room?
I don't know. How good do you feel about 3 picks and 11 and 19? Can somebody else
bad.
do that?
Really, really bad. I feel terrible about that.
So that's what you have to decide. Yeah. And I'm not, listen, it's not, hear my heart. This isn't to disparage one player over another. I'm trying to tell you from a coach's vantage point in its totality, how I think they have to think. Because Coach Rhule gave us some insight early on in the presser when he said this is the first part of building
up.
upward.
The beginning of
something. The beginning of something.
Yeah.
Right. So I just don't think they feel comfortable burying anybody. And I'm going to say this, and I don't know how popular this is or isn't going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think during the course of that game, they were supremely confident that they were going to win regardless of what they were doing.
What was happening?
Yeah. I think they felt like.
I thought they were going to win. I did.
And I think they did too.
Watching their defense.
And I think they did too. So you're not as cognizant at what you're not doing well real time.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
No, I understand that.
Right?
Yeah. But you're cognizant of 2 picks and some stare downs from the quarterback, right? Or maybe no.
Yeah, I think you are. But I think there's something to this alpha coaching thing where you're saying, okay, next time I'm going to do a better job of putting him in position.
So here's my question, and you kind of just hinted on it right there. Is there a point where their confidence in their development becomes a detriment to the team?
Could potentially, just not in week 1.
No, I agree.
Right. So
but if we keep seeing this from
the answer is yes.
Okay.
Just not in week 1.
For sure.
All right. So, but can we we're bearing the lead here.
Okay.
So what did we talk about? What did we talk about yesterday when I was in the hotel room? And this hasn't even come up yet. Staying on schedule and pre-snap penalties.
Sure.
Do you think Nebraska's staff had any inkling that they were going to panic and have to use a few timeouts, that they were going to have some procedure calls and a couple of false starts?
I would say no.
Do you think that they practiced being in a 3-by-1 on inside zone, getting down to the 1-foot line, then mush rush QB sneak? Do you think they practiced that?
I would like to say yes.
I'm going to say no.
But probably not.
Yeah, because that doesn't
happen very often.
Yeah, if you covered that basis in your practice, I mean, good on you. Like, you guys are unbelievable. Because what happened was it always cue Gretna Westside 3 years ago. You get in to do something out of a break that you typically don't do, and inevitably you don't get lined up right. Something happens because
you haven't worked on it.
You haven't worked it under duress in that situation, right? So getting in truck formation, then the very next play, you get out of it, you try to do something different. All of a sudden, there's a 5-yard penalty. Now you're back at the whatever
6
yard line.
Yeah.
So, and that happened to him twice. I'm in one formation with one group. I want to go tempo. I get in a different formation. Like they came out of the timeout and they were going to go orbit motion out of the gun when you just almost rammed the football. You used a different personnel grouping to run a different type of motion with the little loop around orbit, and you got a procedure penalty. Like those things, those are things you have to go through it as a staff as well, right? So now they know, okay, hey, listen, shame on us, right? We got to get better in that
Maybe
regard.
we just call it the timeout there.
Yeah.
Instead of saving it.
Like,
because you end up blowing the timeout anyway.
Those things are work in progress. So why we're mad at this player or Coach Sad, I think if you're playing the long game, you have to go through this. It's just, I hate saying it, it's not popular, but it's part of the process.
Part of the process.
If you're going to trust.
Well, that's the question: is who should you trust? More of that next on Benning and Lulla.
We will be back in 4 minutes. We will be back in 3 minutes. We will be back in 2 minutes. We will be back in 1 minute. We will be back in 30 seconds. Hurrdat Sports presents the Damon Benning Show with Ravi Lulla.
Yeah, Ty's one of our best players, so obviously we'd like to have him out there down the stretch. We played a lot of guys to be fresh for the fourth quarter, and we were expecting the fifth quarter, expecting overtime. So I thought the defense, played really well at times, but this is a team game. That's the biggest thing, right? Like, we're not going to go down the path of that. We had a chance on defense to stop it on fourth down and end the game. We weren't able to do it. I like their demeanor. I like the way that they kept taking the field. And as I told them, no one feels sorry for us. We got to just be a little bit better next week, grow from this.
As we close out hour number 2 here on the Damon Benning Show with Ravi Lulla, I want to tell you about our friends over at Big Brothers Big Sisters. Their mission is to support one-to-one mentoring relationships that ignite the power and promise of youth. Go to mentoromaha.org to sign up and become a big. All right, DB, before the break, we were kind of having a discussion here.
Mm-hmm.
And here's my question for you is regarding whether it's Jeff Sims, whether it's Anthony Grant, whether it's anybody else on the roster that you think you're going to need down the road, right? That's the core of this, is because if you don't think you're going to need a guy, you can just say, hey, we're going with somebody else, right?
Yeah. And because I think at the end of the day, it disintegrates the message that you've been preaching since you've stepped foot on this campus.
Which is the accountability, like holding guys accountable?
Well,
or which message are you?
I'm talking all for one.
Oh, okay.
One for all.
You need everybody.
You need everybody.
Okay.
We're in this thing together. You heard him. You just heard him in his own clip, right? And before that, he's like, "Hey, listen, you know what? We got to take a look at calling plays. We got to take a look at this. We got to take a look at that." Like, believe me, nobody will be absolved of culpability here.
So, is there a way with guys like, Jeff Sims specifically? Is there a way to build for the long haul, to try and build trust and confidence in him that still limits his weaknesses to things that he has not shown he's real adept at, whether in game 1 or his time at Georgia Tech?
Sure.
Because I think there is too.
There absolutely is.
And that's where it comes to, okay, we shift from, hey, we're putting a lot of blame on Jeff Sims because he's the one throwing the interceptions and that type of thing, right? To, hey, maybe we take a look at the coaching staff to put him in better positions.
Yeah. So, one of the you make a couple of catches, tough catches. You come out of the back end of a run or two. You don't get beat right at the point of attack at the line of scrimmage. And the butterfly effect is in full bloom,
absolutely,
right?
And it looks way different. The end result looks way different.
So the thing that you have to have is, as a staff and in positions of leadership, is conviction. You have to be able to decide real time, is this a one-off? Is this how it goes? How much responsibility, like if I do just this different the next time, that will change the result? Because I mean, if we're being honest, we're like, I think sometimes fans and media, like, we're being super myopic when we want to fix something with a weakness. We don't, that's a weakness. We don't look at it in its totality relative to everything else that's going on. We're very, very good at just isolating something that we see that we don't like, and we say, fix it. And we seldom walk ourselves through, well, at what cost?
Right.
Because sometimes we don't care. Sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we're just in the moment and we're in our fields. I mean, I had a dude tell me last night, 1 minute my broadcast was beautiful, right? Oh, man, DB, nobody brings the juice and love the scene set. And then it was, man, you know what? That's your fault for speaking in a victory into existence with 8 minutes to go. Listen, don't put that crap on me, right? I mean, I'll own it, right? Whatever makes you feel good. Like, I'm cool. Like, I know where.
That's a little silly.
I should. So, no, I'm not even going to get into defending that. But what the point in using that as an example is, you can't chase ghosts. You can't live your life tucked with you can't live in fear.
Sure.
Right. That's not God given. Right. Like.
So let me ask you this though. So you can't live in fear. I agree.
So where does it cross over into abstinence?
Where does it, or I would say ignorance in terms of what your guy's capable of?
So ignorance is just not knowing. Ignorance is not being in the know.
Okay.
So it's either got to be stupidity, hard-headedness, something.
Stubbornness.
Maybe stubbornness. Yeah. Okay. After week 1, I don't know.
Okay, but it's not. Okay, I understand it's week 1 with Jeff Sims at Nebraska, but how much do you have to look at the body of work and be like, this has been a problem with this particular player for a while?
It depends. How do you feel about yourself as a coach? Like you're removing that from the situation.
No, that's why I asked the question. How can sometimes your confidence in development be detrimental?
Absolutely. But let's look at practical application, right? What do we tell shooters?
Shoot or shoot.
Yeah, you shoot your way out of it.
But is Jeff Sims a shooter?
How many times we hear Coach Mack talk about, hey, you got to keep shooting it, right? Our percentage isn't what it is. Player X, you got to keep shooting it.
Okay.
So, I mean.
But why does he say that, right? He says because he sees guys make it in practice. What we're saying is we've heard about Jeff Sims making these same mistakes in practice. If Coach Mack sees Francisco Farabello go 2 for 40 in preseason camp, listen, that's an extreme example. I get that. But if he's not making shots in preseason camp, maybe he's not telling him to keep shooting it anymore.
Hey, by the way, and I'm only bringing this up because you didn't hear it on the broadcast last night on TV. They did the same thing on TV last night. They said that if Nebraska scores again and they're up by a score, that they'll win the game. So they almost did the same thing you were talking about.
Yeah, and I think my man is just frustrated. I don't think he.
Yeah, it gets frustrating, right? As a fan, from a fan perspective, it gets frustrating.
Because I think at its core, we say, same.
Here we go again.
Yep, different staff, same results, same kids.
And that's what you kept hearing last night. I'm just going to say that, and I only say that because you didn't hear it, but that's what you kept hearing all the time in the last quarter was, here we go again, from the broadcast.
So my question is, when you're talking about alphas,
okay,
I don't know how fine a line it is between being stubborn and having conviction.
Right. Yeah. And that's,
I don't.
That's the tricky part of all of this, right? Because it felt like stubbornness last night, especially when you take it
with regards to what?
The passing plays being called with Jeff Sims. I'm not saying you can't throw the ball with Jeff Sims, and tell me if I'm wrong here, okay? Because I'm open to that. I might not be right. Are there simpler passing concepts where he's not trying to find holes in the middle of the field where it just did not seem like he was seeing defenders well?
Okay.
Are there other ways to still get him involved in the passing game, whether it's that kind of West Coast offense we were talking about, QB rollout flood action, Is that a simpler concept in terms of reading where the defenders are at to put him in a better position to be successful with the passing game?
Maybe, right? Because I'd have to take a look at their passing concepts.
Sure.
But when you're not winning outside the numbers, right? If you're not winning one-on-ones outside
with your
the
receivers,
numbers,
you mean? Yeah.
You're limited if you're scared to throw the ball over the middle.
And that brings up another question.
Because if you can let me just play with a deep hole single high safety because they're getting down into the box. My development as a coach says, no, we have to be able to work through this.
Okay.
You do. Right now, and it's so subtle. It's a game of very, very small yards. We hear inches. Sometimes it's inches. A lot of times it's a yard or two. Right? If they come back to the exact same play that they hit Washington on the skinny, but formation wise, where you just kind of use single coverage because you're on the hash, right? College hash. If you want him to work to the boundary, just let him go mano-y-mano without bringing him into the middle of the field where it's the only place that Minnesota has help with Newman. Now, was the throw late? I got to go back and watch, right? Should he have thrown it earlier out of his break? I'm not sure. Was he open earlier or was there underneath coverage?
I think the underneath coverage was
so you probably got to get off the route.
Right, yeah.
So that's
what I was having a hard time with.
Okay,
he wasn't seeing that well.
And I'll take that because I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But I just would have got, and I think I said this real time during the broadcast. I said I'd come right back to it.
The same play?
Yep. I said I'd come right back to it because now I have a weird affinity for Marcus Washington. I mean, he should be a fan favorite.
I think
if they knew what he went through to even take the field.
Yeah.
And then you heard Coach Rhule say that he was suspended for the first half. Like, I've been that guy and had to come in the second half against K-State. Like, well, actually, I've been that guy multiple times. So I have a soft spot. But that's not why I have a soft spot, because he gets suspended and can still play.
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for Washington because he's not a fake tough guy.
Okay.
Right? Like, he makes tough catches. He wants the ball in crunch time. He's always overlooked. It's always about somebody else with him. Well, we got this guy. Oh, hey, we need this to develop. Listen, Marcus Washington, for this team, what they need to do in the Big Ten can be a number one. Your concepts have to work like that.
Right.
Right? Because it's not like this was news unbeknownst to anybody. He said for weeks, man, I don't know how Nebraska is going to get vertical in the passing game.
Right.
Right. I just don't. And now that I think IGC could be on the shelf for a sec, like, you have to get creative. But here's the beautiful thing. Your staff is experienced. South Carolina didn't get out of the rack and start beating Clemson.
Right.
They didn't.
Clemson, Tennessee.
That offense was a work in progress all year long. Now, will we be patient? We're going to have to be if you're building for the long haul, because I'm just going to go back to it, my man. 90% of the free public didn't think we were going to win that game. It's only losing the way that they lost that gets us in our feels because it looked familiar.
If they lost 20-10, we wouldn't be having these conversations.
And listen, if you get the ball in on the goal line in 2nd and 1 or don't throw the whole thing, it could be different.
You're right.
So it's hard for me to just isolate one thing and nitpick, because in its totality, that's how the game of football goes. It seldom hinges on one play. It just we'll make it about one play in post game talks because it's all we either forget or misremember or what. But it's not that easy.
What about 3 plays that turn into interceptions? We got Mike Sautter coming up next on Benning and Lulla.
We will be back in 4 minutes. We will be back in 3 minutes. We will be back in 2 minutes. We will be back in 1 minute. We will be back in 30 seconds. Hurrdat Sports presents the Damon Benning Show with Ravi Lulla.
Oh, yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Mike Sautter.
I would agree, Damon.
Mike Sautter.
Yeah.
Mike Sautter.
Oh, man, you're going to put me on the spot.
Mike Sautter.
Here we go with hour number 3 on the Damon Benning Show with Ravi Lulla. Mike Sautter joining us live from the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, the H&H Chevrolet studio. And we are
welcoming KFOR and Lincoln.
That's right, our friends KFOR and Lincoln and 590 ESPN Omaha and ESPN Tri-Cities. Also have some friends over at Zipline. Their Acres Ale, brewed with Nebraska corn. Acres Ale is crisp and clean with a light, refreshing flavor. Make sure you go check out that Acres Ale by Zipline. Mike Sautter, how are you?
I'm good. Can't hear myself, but I'm good. So I don't know I can hear.
What mic is he?
I can't hear myself.
But
it's okay.
That one.
That's me.
I can keep talking.
No, there you are.
Oh, there I am.
That's all right. Help him out, Robbie.
I'm trying here. Are you muted? Mute yourself.
Yeah, man. Get off the old computer.
It's been muted.
All right, we got a little echo going.
Shane?
Yeah.
Any ideas?
That might be better. There we go.
Shane, there we go.
We got it. We got it.
Hey, good morning, Shane.
Good morning, Shane.
Good morning, guys.
Welcome to the show.
You say fudge.
Yeah, I'm kind of revving high.
How are you guys doing today?
You're an idiot. We're good. How about you?
You
came in cussing. I don't understand that.
Why? You ever talk to me?
That's kind of who he is as a person.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I'm good. Can I say this out loud? There's a pretty good quarterback in Stillwater, Oklahoma that played at Gretna. I'm just saying.
Apropos to what?
We could probably throw the damn ball.
They made their run at.
They gave it a go.
It was low. I'm not talking about this staff.
Yeah. So what do you want them to do? You can't go back and get it. Like they really tried to go back and get that deal.
I know.
Do you know how close this staff was to showing up at their banquet? Like 5 o'clock on a Sunday.
Yeah.
They contemplated it.
Yeah, I would have.
Did not want to make him feel awkward. They were all in on the floors too.
I would have done what
shocking. Sautter would not have cared about making.
No, I would have done what it took. That's just doing what it takes, man.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Like sometimes you gotta go the extra.
I mean, that was
extra
like
mile.
at the end. They had those conversations with the family. I mean, I don't even know why
It's
you just
too
said that,
bad.
man.
It's
Sometimes I would like to choke the life out of you because I know you would forgive me.
This is what I want to say: is just throw the ball. Like if you're gonna throw the ball late in the game in that situation,
stop it.
Let it go. Then
stop it. We're trying to get to the point where we didn't throw the ball.
I'm just.
I mean, I would like to have not thrown the ball there, but just me personally.
But if you're gonna.
Do you know how happy I was that Minnesota threw the ball when they were trying to get in field goal range and not run inside zone? I mean, Nebraska's expecting pass. They're playing with 2 5-techs. I'm like, they got inside zone here if they want to run it.
Yeah. Well, Minnesota didn't want to run it last
did. So where we? I mean,
how happy would you? Let me start over. How happy would you have been if Tristan Alvano would have made a game-winning?
Do you understand? You don't understand the gamut of emotions that I have during that game, and still have to be professional.
Yeah, I know.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult.
Yeah, that's all right. Okay,
and I don't have a dump button. I mean, not that I cuss, but there's sometimes I'm just like, I wanted him to really have an opportunity because he would. Cool. I'm telling you that
he would have made it.
He would have made that.
Absolutely,
he made it from 55.
So real quick before we get into high school, because this is kind of high school related, I had to do a quick piece with Jess down on the field.
Mm-hmm.
So this is probably like they're just getting ready to go back in, and she's got we got to do this hit, and who's still out there kicking? Tristan Alvano.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm walking through the end zone. I'm like, Magnum TA. Like it felt like a Friday night, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's out there kicking late. I'm about to go back inside. He's like, Coach B, what's up? I was like, hey, man, looking good. I said, this wind is tough, a little right to left. I said, the field is built the wrong way. He looked at me. He said, we're dialed. I said, let's go. I mean, that was old school Tristan Alvano. And so when I walked back to the booth before the broadcast, I was like, you know what? Today's going to be a good day.
So let me ask you this. On the TV broadcast, and I don't think they knew what they were talking about, they go, you got to get Alvano to 45, and then he's like, maybe 47. And I was like,
I mean, that's just they just didn't know. That's okay.
Fine. But I was like, so
if you don't know, don't say.
Hey, he's a freshman. We're not really sure what his end range is here. Because I'm thinking to myself, they get to like the 40, maybe you give it a go.
And
they would have given it a go.
He's so good at
they
playing.
were
he's so good at playing tricks with the ball too. Like he can draw and fade like a golfer.
Joel Klatt's really good though.
So he's
they
almost
just didn't know.
He's impossible not to like. This dude ate in the media place like me or you would.
Yeah. Good.
Meanwhile, my man Gus Johnson is on the floor in front of his booth outside in the hallway.
Sitting on the floor in a suit.
Yeah, eating out of a bowl. I mean,
oatmeal.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's a little old, so oatmeal's probably.
He's a little guy, and I didn't want to get in his business like that. It's awkward.
Yeah.
You don't
want to step over him like AI over Ty Lue?
No, so he's a couple doors down. Otherwise, I may have had to. That's tough, man. What the world is wrong with you?
Come on, man.
Although it was a
little funny.
Gus would be AI in that situation.
Well, probably, but if he's on the floor, he's Ty Lue.
That's first
I'm
thing
just
No, it's good. It's a great Friday. It's beautiful outside.
Yeah. So you got softball.
Softball, yeah.
You're
Katie
going to
Williams.
You're going to see my Albion Mafia.
Yeah,
I like a lot of those guys out there. So my guy AC is from Albion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Adam. Yeah.
I've been there before for a game. There is little to no cell service at their field.
So are you going to hang out with Coach Perone?
I'll see him probably. Yeah,
he's a stud. I'm a big.
You're gonna have to upload all your stuff after you get out of town on the cell phone.
No, I'm finding somewhere. No,
find a hotspot.
I'm gonna work.
Hey, this might be?
I know that
this might be a dumb question, but it won't be the first time I've said something stupid. Can you hotspot your own self?
You can from like a cell phone to a computer. You can't like from your cell phone to your cell phone.
Well, I think you should. Technology people, get on that.
Yeah,
I should never be able to lose self-service if I can hotspot.
Yeah, for real. Maybe the new iPhone 15 that's coming out.
I would have no idea what that is.
An iPhone?
I'm up for a new phone too.
Android guy.
Like I'm a total free agent.
The green dot thing is a problem.
Hush your mouth.
The green dot, like group text with you, is brutal.
Yeah, I hear that quite a bit. My staff totally makes fun. I'm totally the whipping boy on our staff.
Well,
and
how old are you?
I'll be 50.
Exactly.
Well, that's what we're on this morning.
50. Wow.
Careful, man. I'm on like 2 hours and 10 minutes of sleep.
Hey, I tread lightly. I'm gonna be that tomorrow.
Hey, so you got 24 teams in softball?
24 teams at the Katie Williams NFCA softball tournament right down the street from here, from beautiful Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
This place is legit.
So
I can't wait.
Right down the street.
I can't wait to eat here.
I ate here last night.
This has been such a chaotic
for
week.
lunch and dinner on Monday.
I want to get. Did you really?
Yeah.
Dude, this place, it is legit.
That's good.
No, I'm not faking.
So it's at Papillion Landing today and tomorrow. All the good teams.
Isn't that a beautiful building?
Yeah, I'll be dodging softballs though, bud. Ooh, you're ducking.
Dude, you could hide behind a stop sign. No softball hitting you.
Really?
The chances of a softball hitting you are slim to none.
Really?
You're more likely to get hit by lightning. Dude, just turn sideways. Just sheer physics. Not a chance. Bro, what are we talking about? Dodging softballs.
I'm a solid 170 out
man,
here.
My man, listen, any crevice, you're like water. You're like sand, man. No crevice can hold you. Get out of here.
I'm strong, though.
Hey, so what
I'm a strong skin.
What one game of the week tonight for football?
You want to talk about it?
Let's talk about it.
Albion. I'll be going to Albion because Aurora versus Boone Central won my game of the week. There was a lot of votes.
Yeah.
Like over 369,000 votes.
How does that happen?
IP addresses was, I think,
16?
like 24,000.
So 5,000 more than last week.
Yeah.
A lot of people. Got people voting like 10 times.
So that should be a good game.
Yeah, it should be a really good game. So it's 2 Class C1 games outside of the Metro Omaha again for your boy. So
what's your best game tonight in the Metro, do you think?
Oh, Elkhorn South, Millard South.
So I've got a guy.
I think that's Jacob will be there for us. We'll have visuals from that game as well. And then Omaha North, Millard West will have visuals from.
So are you in charge of splitting up the crew for the high school coverage?
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
He's like, I do it. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I do.
No, I'm just going to, humble brag, but we have a
good high school crew.
We have a talented team. The stuff they can do with cameras and angles and replays and
we added a group of 3 visual people this week. So
I'm all for cornering the market.
And then
I am, right? We got my man Drake doing women's basketball. We got Jacob doing volleyball. Like, I'm pumped.
Jacob will be at that Elkhorn South Millard. So I am very intrigued by that game.
Me too. So here's the problem.
And then someone will be at Millard West, Omaha North. And our Hurrdat Sports big game tonight is the Papillion game. So
the rivalry.
Yeah, huge game.
Okay. What would you call that? Is that like
it's a rivalry?
370 rival? Like, it needs a cool name?
84.
Is it 370?
No, because only Papillion Limits of South is on 370.
Yeah, 90. How about 90th? The battle for 90th Street, because it's kind of
battle
in the middle of
battle for Sarpy County. I don't
know. Gretna.
I asked you last week, I think off air. Are you a little surprised that the Monarchs are ranked and Papio South isn't, even though Papio South is 2-0?
No, because Papio South, let's face it, played. their schedule has been a little light so far.
Did you not watch Prep Miller North though?
Watched it a little bit last night. Yep.
So what do we think of Miller North? Because that's what we're giving Papio credit for.
What is the word? I gotta say this appropriately. Underwhelming. Thought they'd be better.
That score surprised you?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I just thought they'd be better. I didn't think they'd be.
Although I think people thought I was blowing smoke when I said that Prep is a team that you're not going to want to play in a couple weeks. Maybe it was sooner. Maybe it was last night.
Yeah. Week 6. You don't want to play them.
Yeah.
Week 5. They have the toughest schedule without question.
You know what I thought was the most impressive thing last night for them was
Zach McClay getting like 35 tackles again.
No, he's unreal.
He's unbelievable.
I mean, I say that
he's unbelievable.
I'm over the Zach McClay he is the real. He made a play on kickoff coverage last week. He was getting blocked out of bounds. He was the only player on the planet that was going to make a play on Keenan Cotton down the sidelines, and he made it.
Yeah,
I stopped him after the game. I'm like, look, man, this doesn't mean a hill of beans because I'm sure you don't know me from a can of paint. But I think you're pretty fantastic.
Yeah, he's really good. So Miller North also did get Mooberry the ball,
so that's all,
and Vermont the ball a little more.
I was surprised at Prep's ability to bounce back physically because I felt like they took it on the chin last week from a hitting standpoint.
And then a short week.
Yeah, it was a short week.
They, Prep had a 4th down stop in the red zone to win the game. So
yeah, because they got to about the 15.
Toughness. Yeah,
there was I think 20-ish seconds left. Like Miller North had driven they were down 5. They'd driven because I'm watching on my phone while I'm here watching the Nebraska game as well. And so they had.
I can't believe you watched the game in public.
The Nebraska game? Well, I had to be here for post game.
Crosstown Rivals.
Oh, that's what we can call it. That.
I knew it had a.
There's got to be a cooler name than that.
I like Crosstown Rivals.
That's fine, but
it's no love loss.
No.
I got one of the parents from one of the schools. They can't
kids transfer.
That's like been waiting for this one for a
There
minute.
were 4 kids that transferred to Papio South from Papio this past off season.
Wait, from the Titans to the yeah. Well, I know a couple.
Monarchs to Titans.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know 2.
So it's gonna be lit.
So let me ask you this about Miller North before we move on to some other stuff. One of the things I saw last week that I didn't really love, you mentioned Mooberry and Vermont really didn't get hardly any touches in week 1. In week 2, obviously they got them the ball, conscious effort to get them ball a little bit more. They looked like they were moving the ball a little bit better because of that, but obviously not well enough. Vermont, I know, housed one on a kickoff.
Yeah, for sure. 95-yard. He just gone.
So I guess my question is,
it's weird. I'd seen that before.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah,
he's tough, dude.
I love it though. It's like when Vermont does it, he's fast.
Yeah.
When we do it,
someone else does it.
He's heady. Anyway,
no,
I think he's pretty.
It would be
no, believe me, I know.
But
it might be pretty fast too.
It's funny, but we play in the narrative.
It's the pretty athletic for a white guy thing.
He's pretty tan.
So, but if I'm saying if it was the other way
around,
it'd be like, oh, he's sneaky athletic,
sneaky quick.
He's sneaky athletic.
Somebody was asking me about Bullock last night on the field, and I was like, don't use the word sneak. Don't use anything.
No sneaky.
That dude would dunk on my head.
Yeah.
Don't
even
tell me
if I was 30 years old.
Do you remember? I don't know.
That
if you,
dude is explosive.
Damon, you maybe remember this. He had one of the best catches.
We had one on us.
Yes, in the corner of the end
yeah,
zone.
You think I don't remember that?
Moss dudes with like a toe down.
Do you think I don't remember that?
Yeah.
Number 3 in the corner.
Amazing.
I saw all of it over and over again. He did that again.
Yes.
What do I forget that happened in football?
Was that
almost nothing
to him.
And I've been talking about him high pointing, but he did it to us twice.
Yeah. When he caught that touchdown last, I was like, first thing that initially popped in my head. Okay, I was on the opposite side of the ends, like it was the opposite corner from where I was. I was pissed, and I'm like, oh my god, that catch was.
And
amazing.
like his brother, he's mean spirited too.
Yeah,
he's not a regular dude.
Pretty cool to see what's happened with that guy. Anyway, sorry.
I was just going to ask. So obviously they fixed one of the issues.
What's wrong with this dude?
He went up and got it over you guys' head.
Shane,
give me that.
Kill this dude's mic.
Like Shaq on Ty Lue.
I tried to do that at the beginning.
Kill this dude's mic.
Shaq on Chris Dudley. Gave him a little shot.
I'm ready to go. I mean, I got the softball game started right now at 9:00.
And don't act like you're whining about getting home at 1. I told these guys my garage door opened at 2:58 or 9.
Yeah. I'm not whining. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that's what time.
I mean, there was a little complaining when you got in. There was a little bit of complaining.
That's just what it is. No, because you had all your stuff here, and I said, move your
bleep. I just don't know what you're on sometimes. Certainly not Ravi's C4.
I'm in a good mood today. I'm on this coffee, my Dunkin'.
Yeah, shame on you. Why didn't you hit the beanery?
What are you doing, man?
You in a good mood or what?
I got this from home. I am, Coach. Thank you. Are you in a good mood today? I'm probably not.
I'm afraid to check on him. This dude This dude was on the plane last night. I was like,
maybe give him a day.
It's one game.
I don't want to say anything about it.
It's one game, guys.
Maybe give him a day.
No one in the world picked them to win the game, except for maybe Ravi and Mike Schaefer did too, and DB
and Brady.
Although Ben McLaughlin had the greatest line ever. We were eating breakfast yesterday, and Greg we were just kind of mulling over the game and kind of what we think is going to happen. And I said 24-20 or 23-20, and Ben McLaughlin looked at me deadpan straight face, and he goes, "Are either one of these teams scoring 20?" And it didn't even dawn on me.
Register?
Yeah, but he said it so matter of fact.
He had the under there.
And I was like, I'm watching this game unfold, and he's the spotter because he's in the booth.
Right,
and I'm like, you son of a gun.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good call. That's a pretty good call.
And how he said it, too. I stopped. I was getting ready to put a piece of sausage in my mouth with my fork, and he stopped me like mid-lift. He's like, either one of these teams scoring. He said it like, look,
like, what are you thinking about?
Where'd you get those numbers from? Or either one. I was like, okay.
Hey, how good is Grand Island, Damon?
Grand Island's good.
They're so well coached.
Grand Island's pretty good. They got, if you like numbers, 35, 21, 27, 8. They're good. My saving grace is similar run concepts to prep in terms of inside and outside zone. Yeah. So it's not like preparing for a team that blast.
How do you not overlook Grand Island? Now I'm going to flip the script. How do you not overlook Grand Island knowing that Bellevue West is next week?
So we have a thing like we're chasing perfection. So
that's what you should do.
We really stay in the moment.
I said this. I think you looked at me crazy. Somebody did when after watching you guys West Side practice. I said, hey, look, if they remain healthy, they could go down as an all-timer. One of the best.
It's still way premature.
I'm just saying that after the second practice of the year, third practice of the year that I saw of you guys, I'm on that limb. If everyone remains healthy, particularly key positions like quarterback, but I think you might be fine even if it's not.
Dude, can I just take a moment to ask how good Anthony Rizak is?
He's so good.
Can
we take a moment to question why he has, partial scholarships?
Doesn't have better offers,
not like a full anywhere.
I'm gonna give him some credit though. He was patient. He didn't jump at the Ivy League. He's any of the 80 that he had.
Yeah. He's really good. Just a winner.
He wants to be a quarterback.
Yeah. Well, he also wins.
Mm-hmm.
Great kid.
Dude, he's clutch.
Yeah.
He has our second highest grit testing score. It's what you give like pilots and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
High stress situations.
I'm just saying, there's something there. I tweeted last night, but him and McClay, I
know. So what do you think happens in Miller West North tonight?
That's a tough game. It's going to be tough.
Talk about contrasting styles from what North saw a week ago.
Yeah.
I wonder what they learned from last year. We talked to Larry about that.
Yeah. Just, quarterback run game, pound it kind of at you a little bit, but then they can, Jackson Williams might pop a one or two.
Big Jackson Williams fan.
He definitely is capable.
Big Jackson Williams.
Can Champ do that again for North that he did 178 yards receiving or whatever? And by the way, hey, Sebastian Serco, I think I said this after, a couple times. The dude has matured. He's physically, and he's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's actually pretty good. He's not, the knock on him was, it's just 7-on-7 quarterback. He's skinny and small.
Quietly the game of the week for me. Quietly. Gretna Central.
Gretna Central is a good game.
If Central wants to be the team,
thinks who they
if they want to be the team, this is the game they've got to win.
Yeah. If they think they're in that conversation, because it's one of those you can talk about it, but being about it's a different thing.
And that's at their place too,
It's
isn't
at
it?
Central, yeah.
Yeah, for some reason I get vertigo going there, being backed up against the interstate. I almost get the sense like I'm going to fall off, and I know I'm not.
No, it feels a little weird. It's kind of like a weird, like
it's great at night though, man. Gosh,
it's a pretty,
it's really cool looking.
It's a pretty,
yeah. No, I get
and
that.
Coach Mackey and those guys, they got them believing. They got them believing.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know how healthy Gretna is up front right now, so
yeah,
that's a little bit of a question, but very intrigued to see how that one shakes out.
Scheme.
Plattsmouth, Bennington's another one that's kind of intriguing.
So what was, and I don't know if I got the stones to ask Verz about last week, but like,
do please, because I want to hear what he says.
Stick around.
I'm just gonna lay out on that one.
I do gotta go, but I get the softball already started.
How convenient.
I gotta go.
You don't want the wrath of the big fella?
Clearly that wasn't a touchdown.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, come on. And honestly, what is even a little more disappointing is I saw communication for the officials, the signer person that was, oh great, we will use this as something to the effect of we'll use this as a perfect example of how to throw your arms up in the air or whatever, like for a touchdown, or the mechanics. And that is the one thing about referees and referee evaluators that drive me nuts. All they do is care about, is their arm straight? Is their foot straight? Is there whatever? No one complains about referee mechanics. They complain about referee decisions.
Although in basketball, I think it's a bigger deal. Open hand, stop raising your hand as you blow the whistle.
But at the same time, you don't hear fans. Right. Yeah, you don't hear fans. Right. We want them evaluated on their decisions, not if their arm's straight.
That's Mike Sautter. He's heading out to some softball.
I got a little Sautter soapbox in today.
We'll get plenty of high school coverage tonight.
Shocker.
The sports cleanup is coming up next.
The show will be back in 4 minutes. The show will be back in 3 minutes. The show will be back in 2 minutes.
Tight ends from the left to the right, so they go to the gym.
Now they'll pitch it. Now they'll throw it back. Ow! Alex Bullock! delivers sideline, intercepted. Wow! Omar Brown read it, reacted. And gobbled the football up.
The show will be back in 1 minute.
Kelly
The show will be back in 30 seconds. Hurrdat Sports presents the Damon Benning Show with Ravi Lulla.
play fake. Kelly McManus delivers sideline, intercepted. Wow! Omar Brown read it, reacted, and gobbled the football up.
It's the Damon Benning Show with Ravi Lulla, and it is time for our War Horse Casino Sports cleanup. Oh, there's the Winnie. We got it. That's
the last time that'll happen.
That's how you know DB's in a good mood this morning.
Not really. Not really. But because I'm pot committed and I felt like, new show.
Yeah, you wanted to be here.
I
first show after
post
the game.
I just couldn't leave you hanging.
Well, I appreciate that. I do.
I couldn't. I said I cannot. And the way you asked me the other day, I was like, I'm not saying no. You're like, hey, are you gonna be back on Friday? Did you? You might have thought I was traveling different.
Yeah, I didn't know time wise.
Yeah,
it wasn't like, are you gonna choose not to be here? I didn't know.
I can't read tone and text.
No. Yeah, that's fine. But I was just asking because I didn't know what the travel plans.
Did you ask me in person?
I think it was on text. Okay. I didn't know what travel plans were and stuff like that. And I also didn't. I'm very cognizant of how busy you are.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to.
It's the fakest busy ever.
Well, it is what it is.
Sometimes I feel like I'm just inefficient.
You've mentioned that before.
But
you do have a lot, especially this week where you're going, okay, you traveling on Wednesday, you game yesterday, you're back at 2 a.m., you got to do the show, then you're coaching tonight. Like, there's a lot going on.
Like, how am I on 6 miles till I'm empty again? I just filled up.
Well, it's because you went to Nebraska City and then to Lincoln and back.
Oh, I
forth.
forgot about Nebraska City.
Yeah, you're all over the place, man.
It didn't make sense. I'm driving home last night. That thing went ding. I was like, huh?
Were you just like, I'm not stopping?
Oh, heck no. I listened to music the whole way home.
Yeah?
Yep. I didn't listen. I listened to music the whole way home.
Is that normally you usually listen to talk?
So it's been a couple times I've come back late, but not that late. That's the latest.
Yeah.
But we've had some late ones. Purdue was late.
Yeah.
No, and I have 3 genres. I have the contemporary Christian.
Okay.
Turnt, TURNT.
Turn it up.
and what you'd call R&B, but it's not all R&B. It's just kind of none of the other two categories.
Okay.
Which one do you think I listened to last night?
I'm gonna guess contemporary Christian.
Nope.
R&B.
Yep. Yeah.
Kind of in your feels a little bit.
It seemed like it, but I wanted to ramp down because I knew I needed to sleep.
You need to chill out a little bit.
And I was like, man, I'm gonna have to shower like 5:50 again. Like I went through a bar of soap at the hotel.
An entire bar?
No, it's cheap and it's little.
Oh, okay.
But I don't like the fact that they have those 3 kinds of soaps in hotels now.
Yeah.
Because they don't lather.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't lather, and I use a wash rag. I don't know what other people do. You hand people, you need to check yourself. But I'm not here to judge.
Sounds a little bit like you're here to judge.
Man, it sounds a little judgy.
How you feel about a loofah?
I'm cool.
You get to exfoliate.
Yeah, most brothers that I know don't have one, but hey, listen, man, knock yourself out. I gotta read you something as part of the cleanup.
Yeah, let's go. What's up?
Can I read you something? Now, this is my buddy, right? Like, so full disclosure, I like him, and he's extremely smart when it comes to football.
Okay.
He started on our show. We called him the professor. It's my guy out in Grand Island now, Lincoln. And he's having a conversation. I don't know who else he's talking to, but oh shoot, he's talking to my guy. He's talking to my other guy. So my buddy, the professor, is talking to the mayor, right? These are my message board buddies that I grew to really like in real life.
Okay.
And so Aaron, he goes, I mean, I get the angst. He's talking about the drive after the 80-yard drive where they ran the ball.
Yep.
He says, I mean, I get the angst. I really do. And I'm not saying you're wrong. So I assume he's talking to Joel. To feel the way you do. Joel might be run the damn ball guy. I got to get into the conversation though. He said, that said, with 9 minutes left in the game, Minnie is expecting runs, so it's not a bad time for that big post. Got to get it out there though. Then on second down, you RPO them and the pass gets batted. The RPO was wide.
It was
open. I said to Sharpie, Kemp may still be running.
Yep, he was open. He had him.
So I think and I'm just being honest. I know what hindsight says.
Yeah.
Because I said to Sharpie, I said, I don't feel like I loved the last 6 or 7 plays.
Yep, I felt the same way.
But when I read this, I think he's right.
Yeah, so Jacob checked me in kind of the same way because I put some on Twitter.
Jacob Padalilla?
Our guy, Jacob Padilla.
I like Jacob. He's kind of stealthy cutthroat too, isn't he?
He can be, yeah.
For a nice guy, like he'll
call you on it.
You got to protect your kneecaps.
He will call you on it. And he doesn't mean it maliciously. It's just
it's just his delivery. Yeah. And he's matter of fact, right? He doesn't like for you to twist his words.
He's not parsing.
Yeah.
So I mentioned, hey, don't love the 3 straight pass plays there. I understand taking the deep shot, but they'd been running the ball pretty well. I kind of liked that they were getting into a rhythm a little bit in the second half running the ball. Didn't love going back to back to back pass plays.
I didn't have near as much problem with that as I didn't like after the 2nd and goal from the 4.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's probably fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That RPO was wide.
It was. And that's what Jacob said. He goes, hey, they had him. The ball got batted. And then you're in 3rd and 10. Do you want to just give up and not even try for the first down by running the ball there? And I was like, you know what? That's a fair point, right?
So I asked Sim. He hasn't responded yet. I know he will, but I said, do you think situationally, could you see the coaching staff trying to work on something real time in game that they thought would work? Like, do you do that in game real time?
I don't think so.
But what if you're playing the long? I know you obviously want to win the game, but remember what I said early, which is going to get overlooked. I think they called that game in such a way where they didn't feel like they were going to lose it once the second half started.
You did say that, and I could definitely see that with how they called the game. But what throws a total wrench into that thought process is 2 turnovers in the last 2.5 minutes, right? That changes the whole thing. I think it was 2.5 minutes. I don't remember when the Grant fumble came exactly. We have 2 turnovers late in the 4th quarter. Totally changes the equation on how we view the second half of that game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in the moment, I think you're right. And I felt the same way. I thought they were winning that game the whole time. I felt good about how the defense was playing.
Mm-hmm.
I felt good about the fact that the runs were starting to hit like they didn't in the first half.
Did you see the two route concepts that Minnesota didn't get? The first one where they crossed both guys on those over routes.
On when was this?
The game tying drive, the touchdown.
Okay, yeah.
Both concepts on 3rd and 4th down were sensational.
Yes, they were. And
there's the exact play that Minnesota ran on those over routes.
Yeah.
In the corner where they replayed. That's on Madden.
Oh, okay.
But anyway.
Well, I mean, and that route on 4th down for Minnesota by Jackson, the way he sold.
Yeah, you see him stem him and straighten him up.
And listen, it's really hard not to bite there, but Hurrdat also has to know that's where his help is.
Yeah.
Right? Like, incredible route. Really great job selling it.
And he got to work with a whole third of the field, mano-a-mano.
Honestly, Kelly McManus almost blew it.
Oh, I know.
Because that ball should have been out
put it
way
on
faster
him. Yeah,
and put it on him
more
instead of leading him. Because he had Hurrdat beat by a lot.
Yeah.
But if you're Hurrdat there, I know it's really because it's a great route. It's a great head shoulder fake to get him to think you're committing inside. But man, you have to trust that your help is there. You're okay trailing to the inside. You cannot trail him if he goes back outside, right? That's what cost him in that situation. And you saw it too. I don't remember who it was, but there was a guy right there that if he does and stays inside, it's a pick for Nebraska, right? If he throws that ball. He had him. So that's one of those things that's fixable, right? They're going to show that on tape and say, hey, Malcolm, you got to trust your help here. Trust your teammates rather than thinking you have to do it all on your own.
Right.
Right? You can trail to the inside. You can't trail to the outside. That's what beat him. So, yeah, but the route concept on 3rd down right before that for Minnesota was really good. And Nebraska still had an opportunity with Gifford to end the game or to end that drive right there.
Yeah.
Right? With Gifford. Gets it on his hands.
Oh, man.
Gets it on his hands and can't pull it in.
I know it. My heart broke because.
But those are things you can point to and say, hey, if we execute a little better.
I know. And we're not as doom and gloom.
And then we're not even talking about maybe we're talking about 4 turnovers, but maybe we're not to this extent, right?
I know.
That was the sports cleanup brought to you by Warhorse Casino, the only place in Nebraska you can place sports bets. You got to do it live at the casino in Lincoln.
My man T-Mac said he didn't love the roughing the kicker against Miller North last night either.
Yeah, my buddy texted me. He's like, I got some tough breaks there, but at least we got the ball to Newberry and Vermont a little bit more. Our guy, Matt Verzel, coming up next.
We'll be right back in 4 minutes. We'll be right back in 3 minutes. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. We'll be right back in 1 minute. We'll be right back in 30 seconds. Hurrdat Sports presents the Damon Benning Show with Ravi Lulla. Now let's find out what Matt Verzel is better at, telling stories or making pizza.
Matt.
Matt's an exceptional young man.
Matt Verzel.
Happy birthday, Matt.
You know, Matt, he's a tremendous athlete.
Matt Verzel.
Come on, Matt, I'm with you.
You know, like Matt Vrzal, you're one of the sexiest people in the world, but you're not one of the most beautiful. How does that happen?
Here is Matt Verzel.
All right, Matt, thank you very much.
My good buddy.
That can only mean one thing. Matt Verzel here joining us on the Damon Benning Show with Ravi Lulla. Verz, how you feeling this morning?
I feel good. How you feel? Is Damon there?
He is here.
I'm here. What's up, buddy?
Oh, okay. What time did you guys get back?
We touched down. Excuse me. We touched down at like 2:01, maybe.
Boy.
Yeah. It takes a while to. You'll get a kick out of this because I'm on bus 5 of 5 with non-essential staff. And
hey, hi, Robbie.
he said hi. Maddie said hi.
Oh, hey, how you doing, Verz?
Oh my gosh, cut it out. So Maddie, we have to wait to deplane and kind of do things by buses. So I mean, your boy is just sitting there chilling. Like when we pulled up to the hotel on Wednesday, like some of the staffers came in and said, "Hey, a lot of congestion in the lobby. You guys just wait here until we're ready." You'd have been like, "Yeah, DB, how does it feel to be in the back of the bus?" But first,
whoa.
What are you talking about?
Whoa.
Hey, by the way, can I just say this?
Back of the bus.
I don't, because that's where I was, my man. Well, it's kind of in the middle. Whoa. Hey, I gotta say this, and I got a question. I love those quarter zips you guys rock. We have those too. That green is sharp. You like those little quarter zip sleeveless one or short sleeves?
That's all I wear, bud.
Yeah, those are I like those. That's become very.
We got one. Well, Term's always gotten one for me. And through the evolution of my fatness, the ones that I used to wear, like I put one on one year, and Term goes, "Dude," and I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Maybe time to find." We call them smock. He goes, "Maybe time to find a new smock."
Yeah, I
was like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "You look like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Like it's blowing. The wind is going up it, and it's." He's like, He didn't want to say it because he's Terman and he's very non-confrontational or he didn't want to say you're not as fat as you used to be, but he was like, I'll try to find you another one.
Hey,
and
go ahead.
And then they didn't make them. Under Armour didn't make them. And so I was like, buddy, relax. I'll just go on the interweb and find one somehow, and I'll have one of the kids buy it.
Hey,
so I found one. The only one I could find is this like crazy ass bright green, and he's just like, that one's really cool.
Oh, that's how you got that. Okay. Makes sense. Yeah. I like the backstory.
No. Now the super dark. See, that one I had on, the crazy bright green one. That's mine. But the coaches all have one that's a darker forest green.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, that's all I rock. I don't like collars.
Yeah.
So,
Matty,
they all wear polos and stuff, and I was like, "Term, you good if I wear this all the time?" He goes, "I don't care.
I ain't never wearing. I don't care what our staff wears. I ain't wearing a polo. It's bad enough he makes me wear pants. Hey, so, man, let me ask you something. With the 2 false start penalties inside,
you should wear pants. Nobody wants you pantless on the side. Children.
Listen, knock it off.
Hey, did you go have some beers while you were waiting for your room?
I did not.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah, I know.
You need to get me on the sidelines, and we'll go on these trips. And then when that stuff happens, we'll just go out and have beers and like shoot videos of it. So we'd be great at this. You need to get me on that broadcast.
Hey, listen, with 2 false start penalties inside the 5, I was trying to explain to folks, they're in a 3-bye, right? And they did it 2 plays in a row. They run inside zone. They get it down to the 1. Then you get underneath center. Then you get underneath center for kind of the mush. And it was the second time that they changed formations trying to utilize tempo, and it netted the same result. Walk me through kind of what happens up front with like a sense of urgency when you're doing something one way for tempo, and then within the same thing, you line up differently. Like, explain what happens up front.
Okay. So when you go in your 3-bye, and I'm assuming you're saying a 3-by-1.
Yep, they're in trips and they run the inside zone twice in a row.
Perfect. That's just what I wanted, just so we're all clear.
Okay.
So when you get that, right, defensive line now, or defense itself, has to widen. They have to space out. Okay. When you get in that hurry up spot, and they've probably practiced it, there's a difference between practicing it and then executing it. So when you bunch everybody together, now there's just a mass of humanity in there. Old habits die hard. Okay. It was gut wrenching. Then when they went through it and they called the offside and they said, well, we're going to actually review the play before this because that was a dead ball. Dean Blandino, the review official in the Big Ten, I was just born with them. I've got one of the longest middle fingers that you will see. And it was.
How did he describe it? The elbow made him down?
Honestly, okay. There was one couple in there. We came to an agreement that they would stay, even though we were pretty much closed down. I apologize for the language I was about to use, but we're watching that happen, and I just erupted. Like, I had let so many bad words go that I couldn't even really hear what he said. He, I believe, was on our side, but then had said I could see why they'd make that call. And then I just, like, the wires crossed. I might have passed out for a little bit. Like, I haven't been that mad in quite a while.
Yeah.
And it's just they had angles of it. The ball crosses the very front of the goal line, which is all it has to do before his elbow, before his knee, before his hip touches. So it was, straight up, if you were on like internet radio, you would get one of the bad words that I said. But I think you're on like a AM station, so I will not get you in trouble with the FCC. But
so, do you think the line panicked in bunch like that just because of the new formation?
Yes. No. with the bodies they were excited, okay? They were excited, and their brains are like, holy Christ, everything we are doing is working.
Mm-hmm.
We are about to score, and this is really going to go down. Like, we're going to go into halftime having played very average and exposing that our foot speed probably still isn't quite there and our agility isn't quite there yet. But we're going to score, and we're going to go up 7-3, and we're going to get the ball.
Mm.
It's just starting to say, happen. We can do this. And you get all jazzed up. Now, a great leader quarterback will go up there, and he will get that sucker run fast. He will, as soon as he touches the two nuggets, that thing is gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
In high school, I think we called it flick, but the quarterback would get in our center, and he'd just give a tap with the top of his hand, and you just go. You don't wait for nothing. You don't say a word. You just get in and go.
Mm.
But we got up there and paused and waited, and now tension just builds, and you're in your brain, you're like, I got to really go now, because he sees something he doesn't like. Why is this taking so long? Oh my God, I'm in the stance. Please go, please go, please go. Oh God, I'm going. And then it just goes bad.
Verz, I'm curious overall your thoughts on the offensive line year over year. What have they improved at that you saw, or where you mentioned the
why do you think they kept trying to accentuate the edge game so much?
They tried to accentuate the edge because they couldn't handle the two in the middle.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, that's just straight up, and that's smart. That is very smart, because they found some things they like. They're like, okay, we've thrown some jabs inside here. We have gotten a return jab that we don't like. Let's go here and see if we can just throw a little hook to the body. Okay, hook to the body works pretty good. Let's keep wearing them down, beating on them. We're going to run our face into a wall a couple times. My guy Liebentrick got stood up twice in the hole. He'll get better at it. But it's overall, except that the series with 12 minutes to go in the game, the why are you calling that plays didn't really happen a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just the execution. And the fellas up front probably got to learn that a good explosion off of the ball with a good bump, okay?
You talking about before they climb, or are we talking about initially?
Offensive line.
Okay, not worrying about getting to the second level so much.
No. I'm just saying we got to get some form of movement, because as soon as Minnesota's linebackers reacted up the field, we were still face into the defensive lineman, literally face touching the defensive lineman, no extension with your arms to see them.
I got you.
And Minnesota's linebackers fly around.
Yeah.
And they fly. So you got to, our agility was a little better. Still got some ways to go. So hopefully, quickness of footwork can be evolved and get better during the season. But that's got to be a focus. Like, that's got to be addressed.
You think? Oh, fudge! I'll get with you over the phone. How's business today? You busy?
I actually had 2 other meetings this morning. The boys are getting her set up, so I'm going to head that way right now.
Okay, buddy.
All right, Verz. Have a good day.
Have a good one, Maddie.
Want to say thanks to our friends at Rockbrook Camera. Go to rockbrookcamera.com. Get some free shipping there on orders over $199. And if you're out this weekend, make sure you go see our friends at the Omaha Storm Chasers. Go check out Warner Park. It'll be a great weekend on their second to last homestand. That's Damon Benning. I'm Ravi Lulla. That's all for this week. We will see you on the other side.